welcome into the latest edition of the Second Half Draft Show. I am your host, Juice, joined by Hadley and Drew. And of course, this is a very special live stream. We are recapping the 2024 Senior Bowl. Very exciting, interesting, many different storylines. A lot to take away here from this Senior Bowl. So we'll jump right in. But I need a little help from our audience. Let me know in the comments whether or not you're hearing an echo, any lag with respect to our audio or anything like that. All right. So we're gonna build this thing as we fly it. So just let me know if you're hearing any audio issues, any feedback that you might be hearing.
Can I let you know? No, yes.
There it is. Echo. All right, let's see what we can do here. We got to build it while we fly it.
Yeah, Drew, you talk. Let's see if they hear an echo from you.
Yeah.
Blue 42. Blue 42. Say hi. Is that echo from me or is it Juice?
Or both.
Nah, man.
Off each other.
Come on, man. Who got the echo? We need to know who got the echo.
Both of us, bro. It's picking up our stuff. It's picking up all the audios.
All right. So
I'll tell you what. Let's try this.
I got an idea, bro.
What's the idea?
Let me go get the other headset that just plugs in, no Bluetooth. Actually, yeah.
All right, bro. Do your thing, man.
Let's just try something, man. You feel me?
Senior Bowl.
DK, how you feeling, man? DK say he feeling good.
Feeling good.
While Drew does some tech work live on camera. Let me lay out. Let me just lay it out. Let me lay out.
You sound better now, Drew.
Because he did something.
I don't know, bro. You feel me?
Is that an echo?
Oh, you back with the echo?
That ain't me.
No, that's when you had nothing. That's what happened.
Nothing. It sounded better.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you sound better when he's going.
Check. No echo.
You sound better now, Juice. Radio Shack equipment. Drew, what you doing, man?
Check. Still any echo?
Nah,
Mr. Seabrasky? Check.
Nope. See?
All right. Yeah, it's Drew,
bro.
Man.
This guy is me and you, man. Y'all want to get on the same? Y'all can get on the same camera. Would y'all be able to do that?
Yeah, that might have to be the move. That might have to be the move. I don't even know if it's that. Maybe, but try to get the headset. That's your normal headset right there.
Yeah, but I can't hear out of the left one, bro. This is like an emergency case. You feel me?
All right. So as Drew is getting himself situated, what we have on deck for you here on tap is obviously the Senior Bowl recap. We're going to talk about our first and second team, all Senior Bowl practice teams, because, of course, the practices are where the main emphasis are. And the reason why we're so adamant, we're such big fans of the Senior Bowl is because it's really the last time actual football is played until these guys are drafted, right? So the bowl season has ended. Some of these fellas didn't play in bowl games because the teams didn't qualify. It's been, a month since the national championship. So obviously, these guys haven't played football for a while. That's why we kind of take that first practice with a grain of salt, particularly with the quarterbacks. But unfortunately, it didn't get a whole lot better from the quarterbacks. We saw some incremental better play, but for the most part, very disappointed, quite disappointed in terms of the quarterback play overall. That being said,
Echo was back.
Echo's back, bro.
Try the room, man.
You have to try the room, bro. They have to try the room.
Gotta move to the room.
Yeah, man. All right. We'll wait for you. All right. So we'll talk about those first and second all Senior Bowl teams, and then we'll start by revisiting our preview, where we were identifying players we thought had a lot to prove. We'll determine whether or not they actually proved what they set out to do. The guys that we figured would be studs, you know what I mean? How did they do? We're going to cover all of that information. We're going to just kind of recap all of that. And then, of course, we'll expand things and talk about winners and losers. And, of course, when we talk about winners and losers, doesn't necessarily mean if a guy isn't considered a winner, doesn't necessarily mean he had a bad week. But he may not necessarily have impressed as much as it's necessary to be considered a winner, right? His draft stock didn't, shoot up a couple of rounds or anything like that. So take that with a grain of salt. But Headley, your overarching thoughts, right? You watched this one from afar.
Yeah.
Your overall thoughts with respect to the 2024 Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I was watching the practice film. Shout out to y'all. Providing that film for me. Shout out to the Senior Bowl, really. So saw a lot of things out there. 11 on 11, 7 on 7s, and then the 1-on-1s. That's where everybody loves the 1-on-1s. But it's 11 on 11s is where we kind of look at to see who's making those plays, who's not making those plays. So my overall thoughts, man. Like you said, quarterbacks. I was kind of disappointed with the quarterbacks. Out of all the quarterbacks, we're gonna get into it, but I thought Spencer Rattler might have been the best quarterback out there in the practice. But those 1-on-1 wide receiver DB drills, it's set up for the wide receivers to win. So I can't be too hard on my DBs, but it's some DBs that really struggle, man. We're gonna get into that. Also, DK's already on it. That guy he's falling off the board, man. Kalen King, man, from Penn State. But those 1-on-1s. But we saw the route running prowess, and we saw some receivers stand out. We're gonna get into all of it, man. But it was a great time watching these guys perform, especially the small school guys. These guys that don't really face these competitions. Christian Haynes from UConn, he doesn't face big competition week in and week out. Quinion Mitchell from Toledo, another guy that you finally get to see him go against top tier guys, rep in and rep out, and he performed. So it's good to see those small school guys perform also.
For sure. Absolutely. And that's really what the Senior Bowl is all about, right? It's competition. And as they say, the NFL, evaluators, they will find you. It doesn't necessarily matter where you play. They will certainly find you. I thought one of the main takeaways, and one of the things that I want to make sure that the audience keeps in mind as we work through this recap, is that things have changed as it relates to how the Senior Bowl is coached, right? And I think the spirit of which Jim Nagy is trying to accomplish by bringing in, position coaches from various teams to coach the two teams, I get the spirit of it, but it does create some inherent challenges, right? You understand what I'm saying? So you don't necessarily have a staff that is familiar with each other working with one another over the course of Senior Bowl week, right? Or over the course of a couple of weeks as they're getting prepared. So, of course, you have install on the field, but, of course, there's work that's being done off the field as well. And with differing position coaches from different teams trying to come together and mesh, and you got different terminologies and so on and so forth. So it's not always as smooth. It certainly has been smoother in the past as far as the practices are concerned. And then there are just certain elements, certain things that you want to see as an evaluator, as a draft analyst, that you may not necessarily get to see. Like I didn't see a whole lot of blitz pickup from the running backs. And we know how important that is on Sundays, right? That's a big determining factor as to whether or not a guy gets on the field or not. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the types of things that certainly you need to keep in mind. I'm thinking you got Spencer Rattler. Obviously, you have Michael Penix Jr. Bo Nix can spin it as well. We didn't see guys push the football down the field, right? And I saw a lot of, underneath routes and mesh and screens and stuff and very few things that were designed to develop and push down the field. You understand what I'm saying? So even that was, okay, let it rip. You got the red jersey on, right? And the coaches need to be in those quarterbacks' ears. And if they're telling them something other than, listen, push the touchdown to check down, right? If they're telling them something other than that, then you're doing them a disservice, not just the quarterbacks, but the receivers, the DBs, like everybody in that whole, situation isn't getting an opportunity to demonstrate what they're capable of, right? We watched the one-on-ones, and of course, we have those one-on-ones posted on the YouTube channel, Couch Potato General Manager. as you mentioned, Headley, the one-on-ones, you take that with a grain of salt, right? You're looking for from competitiveness, right? Snap to snap. You're looking for a little adjustments day to day. You know what I'm saying? But those are set up for the receiver, obviously. You understand what I'm saying? So when we get to 7-on-7, when we get to 11-on-11, right? Especially 11-on-11, we want to see those guys on the boundary also get in the mix, right? Have an opportunity to make plays with a pass rush, perhaps getting the quarterback off his spot or rushing a throw or whatever the case may be, because that's actual football. You understand what I'm saying? So we just didn't necessarily get an opportunity to see the full breadth of some of the headliners' abilities, which we've seen on tape to this point. And there's a trickle-down effect associated with that. We don't necessarily get to evaluate everybody within that true game structure. Now, guys who excelled on the defensive side of the ball on one-on-ones, listen, they made themselves money. You understand what I'm saying? Because, again, particularly when it comes to receivers and DBs, it is very much in the favor of receivers. You don't necessarily have any leverage one way or the other. There's no pass rush. We got 5, 6, 7 routes, 6, 7 second routes. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to take those types of things with a grain of salt. But I'm a bit disappointed. I'm a bit disappointed in how ultimately things played out. Again, I believe in the spirit of what they're trying to accomplish with these position coaches from various teams trying to come together and get some experience and exposure. But there has to be a better plan, and in terms of getting the players and putting them in position to demonstrate what they really are good at, because that's really the name of the game, right? We're trying to figure out what you're good at, and we want to see that, and we want to highlight that. You understand what I'm saying? So that would be one of the main takeaways, and one of the things I want to make sure that the audience keeps in mind as we work through this. Appreciate everybody checking in. Absolutely. The videos, our pleasure. A lot of work goes into that. But our pleasure in terms of providing that for the audience. All right. So looks like we have Drew back. You're on mute, Drew. You ready? Let's hear it.
You in the game now, Drew. Don't lay it down, Drew.
Face.
You in the game.
First things first.
There you go.
Is there an echo?
No, you're good.
No echo.
All right. Now, what the hell are we talking about? Senior Bowl?
Senior Bowl.
I do want to get your take on this as well.
Yeah,
I do want to get your take on this as well. You know, what I was just explaining was we didn't necessarily get to see the quarterbacks open things up. There was we had some question marks in terms of how the practices may or may not have been ran in order to really highlight what certain players were capable of, give players an opportunity to demonstrate their skills. So just kind of putting that out there so the audience understands that and they can kind of juxtapose that against the analysis, right? Based on what they're seeing, I also understand that there's some context that needs to be considered. So what were your thoughts with respect to that?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it in terms of, you know, just it. And listen, I don't know everything that goes into the Senior Bowl, right? And me and Juice, we was talking about it for the first 3 days of it. It's a big thing. It's a 6-man crew that's kind of handling everything. You pick your coaching staff is between the two teams, and there's certain expectations. I think that fans, that scouts, that coaches, GMs expect from the Senior Bowl and some of the drills. I don't think that we got in this time around in terms of letting the quarterbacks just sling it. You got guys with big arms that can throw it around in Penix and Bo Nix. And Joe Milton probably can throw it 100 yards on his knees.
Yeah, I forgot about Milton. We didn't even get to see Milton uncork it.
And it was frustrating. It's hard to. You got some words for him? It's really hard to evaluate them when they're just throwing check downs and throwing screen passes. I mean, the last thing I want to see is a screen pass. I understand there's a lot of moving pieces in terms of you want to see the players do different things, but at no point, I don't think anybody threw a pass over 25 yards. Like that.
I think the only guy that really pushed it downfield was Sam Hartman, and he's probably one of the least talented as far as arm talent is concerned.
I mean, it's crazy. And there were a couple of times where it was one-on-one coverage and we checked it down or we ran the football. We ran the quarterback ran and took off instead of just throwing it down one-on-one coverage. Safeties, either there is no safety or it was a single high and he wasn't on that side. To not give your guy a chance, that's crazy to me. And to me, and I could be wrong, right? don't take our credentials. We could be wrong. I could be wrong, but did the coaches say not to do it? Because it was pretty egregious. It was pretty egregious, right? So
for all quarterbacks to operate that way seemed odd, right?
Correct.
That's what gave me the thought that maybe this is something that the coaches would say, listen, we're going to rein that in, right? We're trying to work on certain things. You know what I mean?
Right.
West Coast it. And we know that you have the big arm, right? We've seen that you have the big arm, but can you understand what maybe that was the focus. We don't have that insight. Unfortunately, we don't have that.
But again, as we had spoken off the air, that's 3 individuals you're taking away an opportunity for. That's the quarterback, the receiver, and whoever's in coverage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you've affected 3 people in that, right? Or maybe even 4 if it's an extra defender, it's double coverage and you want to see what happens, right? So it's just it's strange to me. It is what it is. We still got to evaluate some players, and it was still a good experience. It's not the norm from what we're used to in terms of guys just letting it loose, especially with the quarterbacks you have that were at the Senior Bowl. But it was still a good experience. I still enjoyed it. It was a fun time, and tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, but tomorrow will be the game, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I was disappointed, man. I like to get my full evaluation of every position outside of special teams, and wasn't really able to do that with the quarterbacks. At a certain point, I just like, okay, I can't do the full evaluation because I could go down there and check it down. You could check it down. Hell, you could check it down. Anybody in the comment section go and check it down, man. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see those layered throws, and I wanted to see those balls down the field, and we got to see goose egg of that.
Yeah, I certainly this was the initial thought. Quarterbacks didn't want to throw interceptions, they didn't want to hurt their stock. You know what I'm saying? Turnovers, generally not a good look, whatever the case may be. But it's you take things again. Context matters, right?
Right.
These players met with like 16 to 20 teams this week.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? You're having these conversations. You're drawing things up on the board. You're going to talk about what happened in practice. You understand what I'm saying? And why you made a particular decision, why you were trying something, and you can speak it away and say, listen, I know there was a check down. I could have taken a check down, but you know what? That over route flash, I wanted to give my guy an opportunity. It just seemed odd that all of them, except for Sam Hartman, didn't want to necessarily push the football down the field. That just seemed odd to me. Again, don't know all of the reasoning. I'm sure there's a little bit of everything involved, a little bit of coaching aspect, a little bit of trying to play it safe, trying to be buttoned up because this is a bit of an interview. But certainly, and maybe that's very much what it is, right? Because for whatever reason, teams still put a lot of emphasis on what guys look like in shorts and T-shirts in Indy. You know what I'm saying? Where they will unlaunch it. You know what I'm saying? They'll unlock it and launch it down the field. You understand what I'm saying? So very odd. I just thought it was odd considering the quarterbacks that were there. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what we actually previewed the 2024 Senior Bowl with. And that was who had the most to prove?
Oh, I see some guys on the list right now.
Who had the most to prove? So going into the Senior Bowl, we identified 5 players that we thought had the most to prove. They had an opportunity to perhaps change the narrative about their play or questions about their play, answer questions about their play. The guy in the middle there, if you're familiar with our show, we've been very high on Michael Penix for an extended period of time, right? I believe we also have him as QB3 in the class. We are certainly, it appears we are certainly in the minority on that, but I think Penix has what it takes. I think he absolutely has what it takes. He had his worst game of the season in the biggest game of the season, right? So certainly a lot of scrutiny, a lot of narrative confirmation with respect to that. Let's throw out all the other games, and you know what I mean? Now he didn't necessarily play his best game, so this is who he is. You know what I mean? So I think while he didn't set the world on fire, I thought going into day 3, he was the most consistent quarterback. I think Spencer Rattler, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but certainly was the best quarterback in Mobile this week, right? Over the course of the 3 practices. But I thought going into day 3, Penix had shown me the most. James Williams, safety from Miami, actually played a lot of linebacker, and I think that's going to be his home in the NFL. Sub-package nickel linebacker, special teams. I think that's where he makes his hay. Johnny Wilson. We have Jalen Ford here who did not attend, so we're not really going to discuss that. And also Kalen King. And Headley, we got to start with Kalen King, man.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad for Kalen King. I know the one-on-one reps is, you don't want to put everything into that, but just his movement ability, he just not in phase. He got beat pretty much every single rep. He didn't look good. He didn't look good out there. And, the 2022 tape was his best tape he put up. 2023 was a big question mark. And that's why we had him on this list right here, who has the most improved. And he came to the Senior Bowl and he didn't do well, man. Him or his, I don't think Johnny Dixon did well either. The other corner from Penn State, I thought he struggled as well. So I think both of those Penn State corners didn't look good. He just couldn't, especially when you see other guys. Yeah, you're going to get beat sometimes, but you see other guys like, Carlton Johnson out there. There's some other corners out there that were pretty sticky. Phillips from Kentucky. And my guy from who's the other guy? Brownlee from is it Louisville? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys were sticky, man. Those guys impressed, and Kalen King, you just didn't see that sticky, that hip fluidity. He just was getting beat. It wasn't just he was getting beat. He was getting beat badly out there, man. So I don't think he proved much. I think he's out of the day 2 conversation, maybe a day 3 guy now. So yeah, I didn't really like how he performed at the Senior Bowl. And then speaking about James Williams, that's another guy. I think he's on the loser list as well. He's trying to play linebacker now. He came in at 230 pounds, but in the 11-on-11s, the run fits were bad for James Williams. And then in the pass coverage, he was getting beat all day in pass coverage also. So not high on James Williams or Kalen King right now. I thought those two guys, they had a lot to prove, and I don't really think they proved much this practice week.
Get in there, Drew.
Okay, so let's make sure. I'm doing stuff in the background, just so y'all know.
I know.
Just check. All right. Yeah. Kalen King, bro. As I'm watching the tape, and I hate to unalive a guy, right? As we're watching the tape, but I kept turning to Juice and I was like, bro, I don't know. I can't find anything positive. Okay, a guy has a bad day, a guy has a bad rep, but it didn't matter if it was press coverage, off coverage, on coverage, cover 1, cover 0, cover 3, cover 2. It didn't matter. It was like, I don't know if he didn't have a plan. I don't know I know Juice, you have an idea what it may be, but it was bad, man. And it didn't matter the type of receiver. It could be small receiver, big receiver, medium receiver, intermediate receiver, slow receiver, fast receiver. It didn't matter. It was like, what are we doing? And this is a guy who coming into the season, we're talking about him being cornerback 1. And like, I'm watching the 11s-on-11. I'm watching the 7-on-7. And it's just, he's just out there. He's a jag, bro. That's what it looked like. Yeah. Just a guy, bro. That was it. And I don't. It was frustrating. And I was looking for a play or two that I could say, okay, all right, we can build off of this. There was nothing out there that you could build off of at all, man. And as a cornerback, you got to be able to do something, build off of something. And I don't want to take your fire, just I'm gonna leave it there, bro. Go ahead.
I'll start with James Williams. You guys know, again, familiar with the show. I've said it throughout the duration of the season, and it showed up again.
You were right, bro. You were right about him.
I'm a Canes fan, bro. I watch him every Saturday. I watch him every Saturday, bro. Like that. What I saw from James Williams here in Mobile didn't surprise me at all. I think he actually did pretty well in the interview process, which Deacon mentioned as it relates to Michael Penix. Yes, Michael Penix, he knows ball, which is why Jake mentioned what he said. Why he didn't let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like he understands what he's seeing. He can regurgitate it. He can tell you what the beaters are for that cover 6, which is now very much in vogue in the league. But why didn't we turn it loose? At any rate, the issue with James Williams is that he plays a position, whether it be safety or linebacker, that requires a certain level of instinctualness that I've yet to see from him, right? He's a striker. He's a good athlete, but he doesn't necessarily possess the field, right, in order to consistently put himself in the proper positions. Heather, you mentioned the run fits in 11 on 11, right? The tight end running back one-on-ones as far as pass drills. He was never in position to make a play, really. You understand what I'm saying? With that kind of speed and that length, wingspan, you should be able to kind of just put yourself in some spot from time to time, not every time, obviously, because you don't have great technique, but just with some of those physical gifts to be in position to make a play. But instinctually, when you are thinking, you can't let any of those physical tools do the work, right? Because he doesn't have a field. There's no plan. You understand what I'm saying? You know, whether you're shading inside, outside, there doesn't seem to be a consistent thought process in terms of how am I going to defend the individual across from me? How am I going to do my job? How am I going to get from point A to point B? So unfortunately, we talked about the volatility of his draft stock, and you know, he could go as early as day 2 if you put on a show. And certainly we could see him slide to the 5th, 6th round as well. And unfortunately, it's probably closer to the latter. You understand what I'm saying? He just there wasn't a whole lot to kind of sink your teeth into, and I could not disagree with this more. I could not disagree with James Williams being the next Kyle Duggar more. Kyle Duggar was phenomenal in Mobile, by the way.
Phenomenal. Monty, that's not a guy you wanna put in the same sentence. That's one of Juice's guys from way back when.
Listen,
Senior Bowl.
Listen, I pay particular attention to the safeties because I'm a safety by trade, right? And I got an opportunity. My first exposure, true exposure to Kyle Duggar was in Mobile, and Kyle Duggar could do it all: single high, split, down in the box. He has the instincts. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not suggesting that Kyle Duggar probably is a better athlete than James Williams. But from an athletic physical tools perspective, there's no significant gap there, right? It's technique, it's instincts, it's understanding how to manipulate the tight end or the receiver or the running back, understanding where I need to be, beating guys to a spot. James Williams doesn't necessarily do that. He just doesn't do it. So again, no big surprise that he struggled with him, you know, putting on a little bit more weight, carrying a little bit more weight, and trying to transition to a new position. Now, I think that's where you shoot him some bail, right? That's where you cut him a little slack, is that he's trying to do something new. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to take time regardless. But again, I think at those two positions, linebacker and safety, you have to play with a certain level of a requisite level of instinctiveness that I have yet to see from a consistent basis from James Williams. I want to talk about Johnny Wilson real quick. I thought Johnny Wilson played well. I think he demonstrated that he could play receiver. I think he demonstrated he could play receiver. Yeah. I don't know that Johnny Wilson's going to go out there and route guys up. He's a linear guy, but I think you can find an appropriate role for him, and he can contribute to your offense for sure. I do believe that. What I liked most about Johnny Wilson this week is that he demonstrated some consistent hands. That's one thing. One area where he really struggled was catching the football on a consistent basis. Thought he did a good job this week. That takes me to Kalen King. And you guys have said it all. The only thing that I want to add, I mean, D-Kid, he's not a streamlined athlete. He's not twitched up. He's a big, long-limbered guy that's, you know, so he has to catch the football. You understand what I'm saying? He's not going to create tons of separation. I think with that build-up speed, certainly he can pull away from guys given enough time in the route. You understand what I'm saying? But the reality is that he's going to face contested catches, and he needs to come down with more of them than less of them. You know, more often than not, he needs to come down with those grabs. Kalen King looks to me like a guy who doesn't have any confidence. He looks like his confidence is shot, right? You talked about the 2022 tape. We certainly didn't see that same player in 2023. Now, of course, he's assuming the top cornerback role. Right, in 2022, he's playing opposite Joey Porter Jr., who we were very high on. I think we either had him, depending on who you're talking about on this panel, we either had him as a second or third corner in the class. You understand what I'm saying? First round guy in our eyes. No Joey Porter Jr. in 2023. So he obviously took on the top receiver from the opposing team and got a little exposed. So we thought, of course, going into Mobile, he has an opportunity to prove himself, to demonstrate that, what we saw from he's actually closer to what we saw from 2022 versus that of 2023. And that certainly wasn't the case. And the only explanation I can come up with, right? And I think D-Kit, he alluded to something else that should be considered, that he seemed, indifferent about things. That is not the right attitude for a job interview, which is very much what the Senior Bowl is. You understand what I'm saying? I think if I had to venture a guess, it's a lack of confidence. And that's not a good thing either, particularly at that position. You got to have a short memory. You got to get on to the next play. It just, nothing made sense. Drew, you talked about it, off coverage, press coverage. He wasn't getting his hands on receivers. He wasn't trying to reroute or stay in phase. It's almost at the top of the route. Once you got to the top of the stem at the break point, he just kind of gave up on the play, right? He just didn't expect to ever be in position to make a play. And it happened throughout the entire week. I think there may have been one rep that he won, day 3.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I think he jumped something. I think he
jumped something
on the sideline. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I thought he was marginally better in team, marginally, but not to the point where I would say, okay, we can dismiss the one-on-one, the struggles with one-on-one. Obviously, take one-on-ones with a grain of salt. It wasn't good, start to finish. It really wasn't good. And my assumption is that it is confidence related with Kalen King. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's the only explanation I can come up with.
Yeah, I think it's the movement ability, out of phase, not in sync, the hips. It's a technique thing also. I think his confidence is a large part of it, but his technique ain't right now. He got to get that fixed.
Yeah, DK. I mean, with that particular performance, I would say, yeah, in hindsight, he would have been better off. I thought he was one of those guys that we pegged, had a lot to prove. So here's your opportunity. This is the last time you're going to be able to play football. You understand what I'm saying? Legitimate football, right? Go out there and shine. Go out there and compete. He didn't even compete. That's what it was looking like. He seemed defeated. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I go back to the confidence conversation.
It almost seemed like he might, and sometimes this is what I think, and this is probably not the case because I haven't heard anything, but it's almost like he was injured and he was just playing injured, but nobody knew type of thing. Because it looked strange. It looked strange, man. And real quick, I know y'all just poo-pooed and stepped on and buried James Williams, but I'm gonna give my man some bail. And it's not so much that I'm gonna give him a little help, man. I'm gonna pick him up, I'm gonna dust him off, right? And we're gonna hit the reset button, right? So we know obviously that he moved down the linebacker, so that was gonna be a bit of a transition. And I thought in the 11-on-11s that I watched, I thought he was actually pretty good in terms of coverage, in terms of stacking and shedding, in terms of being where he was supposed to be in terms of his responsibility. I actually thought he played well. So
I think he got better, but the bar was pretty low, if that makes any sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so I think he struggled mightily out the gate. Right. And that was part of my caveat, right? Part of my caveat was the fact that he's effectively learning a new position. You understand what I'm saying? So there's going to be some inherent struggles with that. But here you are, you got to prove yourself, right? And what my point is that he is not the type of player that you can just drop into any situation and he's going to pick it up and run. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm holding him to that standard. You understand what I'm saying? I'm holding him to that particular standard because what they're asking him to do is what they're going to have him do at the next level. You understand what I'm saying? That's the reason why they had him do that the entire week. He didn't necessarily play with the safeties. He didn't. He was with the linebackers. You understand what I'm saying? So to your point, though, 11-on-11 football, you put him in position to green dog, to spy, to blitz. You understand what I'm saying? There is a path for him. But as far as his draft stock, he didn't help himself.
Yeah.
Rex
comment
Let's hold that one. Let's hold the Javon Solomon conversation. Let's hold that
Okay.
one. All right.
Come back on.
I do want to
Come back
get
on.
there. I do want to get there, but I want to hold that one. I want to hold that one. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to whose stock is locked. So
Real
here we
quick
go.
before you get there.
Here we go.
I
Here we
gotta,
go.
listen, just real quick, because this was in the past, real quick. So Monty asked, well, what did you think of Marte Mapu?
Mapo.
That was
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Sacramento
Headley's
State.
guy. Yeah, and we all liked him. We all liked him. And smaller guy, but he was a star out there. He shined. I think he was one of ours for last year. I think he was one of stock up guys for us.
You done?
Yeah.
That's something to say, Jude? Oh,
You done?
I think he's gonna get better with time also in New England. You know, his first year, his rookie year, he didn't see as much snaps, but I think he's gonna get more snaps. He's gonna get better. I like him as a prospect.
All right, we had to work some Marte Mapu in there, who is a Senior Bowl
Hey,
alum.
man.
So okay. All right.
I don't know how you just dismissed it. Him being
We got a lot
Senior
to
Bowl.
get to. We can't get to everything. We got a lot to get to.
We can get to it. It can just be quick, bro.
It's not going to be a
fast, and in a
4-hour
hurry.
stream, bro. It's not.
Quick quitters, man.
All
Let's
right.
go, man. Who's locked, man? These are the locked guys, right?
So again, these were the locks that we discussed prior to the Senior Bowl. We thought these guys would come in, do their thing. We wouldn't expect their stock to change dramatically. They were already highly touted prospects at their respective positions. Okay, and I thought based on the performances this past week, I don't know that much has changed. Perhaps JPJ is moving up even more than we had anticipated. But certainly, I think everybody here demonstrated, flashed what they're capable of, what we've seen on tape, and that their stock, probably hasn't moved a whole lot based on this week's performance. Let's start with Latu, Drew.
Bro,
What?
You said JPJ? What are we doing, bro?
Jackson Powers Johnson?
Yeah, that's it.
I said JPJ.
No, bro. You got a name like Jack Powers Johnson. You don't say JPJ, bro. What are we doing? All right, man. Let's get on this lot too, bro.
Powers
Right?
Johnson.
We don't
JPJ.
we don't call Latu LL, bro. It's Latu, bro. You feel me?
Latu.
No.
Bro, this is not that's not an apples to apples comparison, bro.
It is though. It is.
No, it isn't. It
It's
isn't.
the
It
name,
absolutely
bro. It's the
isn't. What are you
name.
talking
It's the
about?
name. It's the name.
Latu
bro.
has a first and a last name. Jackson
Right.
Powers Johnson has a first
Right.
name and a hyphenated last name. He now goes
Right.
by JPJ, that he's commonly referred to as JPJ.
I have not heard that. Where you heard that at? Who told you that?
Twitter. X. I seen it on X. I seen it on
They
X.
do that. The boys do that because they're lazy, bro. It's a long name. They don't want to type it in. Let's be real, bro. Come on.
But
Feel
let me
Come
jump
on,
in.
man.
Let me jump in right here with
All right.
these guys right here. My opinion
Go ahead,
on
man.
these guys that we thought was locked. I think Latu. I thought he showed the hand prowess that he always showed. I think he's a locked first round pick. Fuaga. He thought he did well in those one-on-one drills. He's locked in the first round. He could go earlier than a lot of people think. He could be a top 10 pick. JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, that guy. I think.
Thank you,
he's
Mr.
improved his draft
Seabrasky.
stock.
No. He was CEH. We knew that already. Where JPJ come from?
Hey, man, you late, bro.
Yeah, man.
You a little
You need
late
some
on
new
it.
sources, bro.
But I think he's improved his draft stock more than any guy on this list.
I would agree.
He's going to be first interior offensive lineman off the board. I wouldn't be surprised he's a top 15 pick based on his performance. I think he might have been the best offensive player in the Senior Bowl period. Cam Kitchens. Now, this is a guy where I don't know, Juice. We like Cam Kitchens over here, but
You're
I saw him
overreacting.
in film.
You're
I saw him in
overreacting.
film. I
You're
saw him in
overreacting.
So hold on.
You're
For everybody that's
overreacting.
new, hold on, real quick. Before
I'm
y'all
just
get
gonna say
into
this.
it. No. Hold on.
All right, go.
I gotta put the disclaimer out there. So if y'all can't see that picture in the back of Hadley, pull Hadley up one time, bro. Pull him up
State.
by himself, bro. By himself, bro. Right?
Yeah.
State
I
back
hate no
there.
James Williams. I hate no
Right.
James Williams on the first slot. Now,
Right.
I do like Kitchens. I like his film, but he didn't perform well in day 3. Jaheim Bell was doing him. The guy that y'all were making fun of before this last week's stream.
State, right?
Jaheim
State,
Bell
right?
was doing Cam Kitchens.
We were making fun of Jaheim Bell, bro.
Y'all was saying he couldn't do it.
What? No. Stop.
Y'all said
Stop the damn record.
Y'all.
What did I say about Jaheim Bell? What did I say about Jaheim Bell?
No,
I spoke about his blocking. I spoke specifically about his blocking. Cut the crap. Both of y'all. Cut the crap.
No, but listen. I mentioned him as a guy that could elevate his draft stock. And y'all looked at me and said, well, why are y'all mentioning Jaheim Bell? Why are you mentioning him? I'm trying to tell you, he could have improved his draft stock.
No. You're changing the story. You're moving the goalposts and you're changing the story.
We can go back to last week.
We can go back to the film. I think you were referring to a guy that you think is going to crush it. Not just improve his draft stock. We're talking about the guys who we're going to crush it. You're moving the goalposts. I'm going to hold you accountable.
Okay, I'm moving the goalposts a little bit on Jaheim Bell. But in regards to Cam Kitchens, he didn't look good in coverage.
It's the man coverage.
Man-to-man coverage.
It's the man coverage.
He didn't look good in the man-to-man coverage. So I still like him, but I don't think he's going to be a locked-in round 1 pick anymore.
No.
That's my opinion. And we thought that coming in.
I still like him as a top safety. I did too. I understand why people like Tyler Nubin more. I think before the Senior Bowl, there was a chance that he wouldn't be in the first round anyway. 1, because of the position, and 2, because there's an expanse. There's an expanse in terms of how people feel his stock, where it actually lies, right? My point is that I don't think anything changed from Senior Bowl week. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think he was a lock for the first round. I don't think he was a lock going into the first round, right? My point is that the thing that we knew about Cam Kitchens, the one area we thought that the weakness, outside of the overly progressiveness, right? That's well documented. Outside of that was the man coverage. I thought day 1, Day 2, very good in man coverage. Day 3, he struggled. It was 4 reps. He struggled, right? Yeah. So, again, from my perspective, I don't think his stock from a consensus perspective has changed. I think he's a top 40 guy. Are you saying that he's outside of the top 40 now?
No. I'm saying that I thought he was a first safety off the board.
Gotcha. From your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective. Now, gotcha. I think he could be a round 2 guy.
Yeah.
But top 40, right there in that range, top 30 to 40, I think he's there. I think Newman might get selected before him now.
Yeah. I understand that.
Chance you take going to the Senior Bowl.
T Sweat.
That's a bully. That's a beast right there. We seen him up against Bo Limmer, pushing him all the way back. The biggest thing with T Sweat is going to be his conditioning. How much time can he play on the field? If they're saying he's a 20 to 30 snap guy, he's not going to be a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be one of those first or second down guys, get in, stop the run, get out on third down. So that's all it takes with him. How is it going to be his conditioning? What his weight's going to be? He didn't weigh in, so we don't know how much he weighs. So that's the biggest thing with Sweat. But on the field, he's a bully. He's a beast, and he's going to help you in your run game tremendously. 3-4, no tackle all day.
During the media day, the media portion, there were some questions around his weight, and he mentioned, that obviously his body type, anything he eats, it sticks to him, right? So obviously he has to continuously move. He has to move in order to maintain the weight that he's at. Otherwise, it's going to balloon. And he said, "Listen, I believe some journalists asked him along the lines of, what are you comfortable at?" He said, "I'm actually very comfortable." And if you see Tavondre Sweat, I was 3 feet away from him. If you see him, 365, that's as put together a 365 as you can imagine. You understand what I'm saying? He carries that weight well, and he mentioned that I feel comfortable at this weight. I don't feel gassed at this weight. I feel comfortable. But his point was that if a team wants me down at 340 or 335, I'm gonna be down at 340 or 335 because I'm not getting fined. I'm not losing money in my paycheck. So I expect him to be able to manage it. And if that's what's necessary in order for him to stay on field, you understand what I'm saying? To ensure that he has the condition necessary to make enough plays, then I think he certainly will do that. I think he certainly will do that. He's acutely aware of that concern, very much so. So that certainly is encouraging. No, he weighed in at 365, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he weigh? I thought he didn't weigh.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He skipped it.
Yeah, you reported 365.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 380. You might be on to something.
Yo,
you might be on to something.
He looked good
No,
at 380 though.
I mean, the weight looked good on him. The weight did look good on him. But to your point, depending on where he goes, depending on his point, he's gonna cut the weight. If that's what's required of him, he's gonna cut it. So I believe he's capable of it. All right, let's move on.
Man, Brian, get top.
Yeah,
my bad. Yeah, you were doing a lot of talking about nothing earlier. Talking about JPJ. Go ahead.
No, you was talking about JPJ. I was talking about Jackson Powers Johnson. So I'll make it quick, man. As Headley said, Latu, he did his thing in terms of what we expected, right? His that hand usage, and one of the things, first day, your boy was getting them. Fuaga was getting them, and me and Juice kind of came to the consensus that he was just trying some stuff. Because after that, he kind of took off that second day, and then he didn't have to do anything the third day. Fuaga, he was a man amongst boys out there. He was
Isaac was the only player that gave him trouble.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I've been talking about the entire season with respect to Fuaga is how are you going to handle that 9 speed rush? How are you going to handle it? A guy who can bend, who can flatten. How are you going to handle that? And he gave him consistent issues throughout the week. Everybody else, power. Anybody tried power, even the technical guy like Latu. He handled it. He handled it. But that wide 9 alignment, speed, rush to the outside, he struggled with it.
He did.
I think he did plenty. So obviously his stock is locked. But
I mean,
that's my concern.
He won more than he lost, and the coach can look at that and say,
sure.
we can fix the speed guy thing. That's not an issue, right? Jackson Powers Johnson. I mean, it didn't matter what he faced, whether it was a power guy, a technical guy, a finesse guy right there in the middle. He handled all comers. I think he played some guard, some center. It didn't matter. He was that guy. He was able to recover even when he was beat, the few times he was beat, and still make it look like he won. So to the point where I think he stopped practicing. So we discussed Cam Kitchens, until we blew in the face. Nobody cares about the U. And then Sweat. Hey, listen, I know you said Bo Limmer got him in the first half, bro. That first day, Bo Limmer was getting him.
Trying to do a spin move. I thought Sweat trying to do a spin move on Limmer. I was like, "What you doing, Sweat? Why are you?"
I don't know what Sweat was doing.
You got to try some stuff, bro. You got to try some stuff.
He didn't look like the Sweat that we remember the first day, but every day after that, I think somebody said, "Yo, maybe he heard something." Somebody said something. He said, "Okay, all right," and he started to embarrass folks, namely Limmer. But yeah, and he was doing work in the 11-on-11s, and he was the Sweat that we remember. So whatever weight he was playing at, like you said, he looks good, and let's just hope that's the Sweat that we continue to get, man.
I think to your point, Drew, Latu isn't the only player that was trying some stuff, right? We're going to get to our guy, Brandon Dorless. I think he was trying some stuff on day one. I think guys were trying to demonstrate other areas of their game, right? Again, Latu was working primarily on the speed rush. He brought his hands day 2, and everybody struggled to stay in front of him. You understand what I'm saying? So that's another thing that you kind of have to take in with a grain of salt. You have to understand that there's some context here as it relates to practice and working on things. And he's getting some coaching that says, hey, why don't you try this in order to add this to your toolkit, right? Does that in the one-on-ones, has some mixed, success, and not necessarily his trademark, gets back to brass tacks, and then you see what he's capable of. So I think certainly Sweat may have been in that boat as well. I definitely saw that among several players. Let's move on. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing here.
What do you got?
Who did you want to see most? So there are a handful of players that we were really excited about seeing up close, seeing how they perform on this stage. And Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback from Toledo, did not disappoint at all, not even a little bit. I saw someone mention, I asked about Corley. Who was that? Who asked about Corley? James Waldron. If I could have 11 Malachi Corleys as you see him on this slide here, I would play all 11 Malachi Corleys. He is fun. He is fun. The Debo the Debo comparisons, I think, are fair as it relates to physicality as a ball carrier. He is not remotely, and Headley has mentioned this previously, he is not remotely the same route runner that Debo Samuel is. He has some work to do there, but he's a problem, bro. I saw him drop pads on an end around an 11 on 11. You could hear it. You could hear it from outside the stadium. Like I mean, he ran through a DB in one-on-ones. I like I said, sign me up. I'll take 11 of them. I'll take all 11 Malachi Corley. We gonna punch somebody in the mouth. We might not win a game, but we gonna punch somebody in the mouth. You understand what I'm saying? But Quinyon Mitchell, he was a star, right? Outside of Jackson Powers Johnson, I'm not sure anybody. I take that back. Darius Robinson. I think Darius Robinson may have helped himself more than anybody else through Mobile. But Quinyon Mitchell, I think we actually may have to have that conversation in terms of who's the top cornerback in this class. He was that good. He was that good. What were your thoughts on him, Headley?
Yeah, man. He had to check some boxes for me. You know, he played a lot of the quarters coverage over there at Toledo. Not much press, not much man-to-man. So he had some boxes to check for me, and that's why he made this list. Who I want to see the most, it was Quinyon Mitchell, because he was getting a lot of hype, size, speed, ball skills. He has all of that. But what he showed me here at the combine in those one-on-one drills, just his hips, it's how patient he is. His feet are so patient. A lot of scrimmage. The receiver, you can do whatever move you want to do. I'm still right here. You're not going to trip me on any moves. I'm going to be right there in your hip pocket. I could turn, I could run, I could locate the ball. It was a rep against Brandon Rice. He located the ball. It was a bad throw. Got his hands on it for the interception. And time after time after time, he just showcased his skills, man. He's an alpha out there. He's, like you said, we're going to have to really talk about, you're giving up the sauce right here, the first Senior Bowl team. All right, there we go. So
I don't know how that happened.
It's all good. But yeah, we got to revisit that conversation. Who's cornerback one? Is it him or Terrion Arnold right now? Because to me, he's at least cornerback two from what I've seen on the field at the Senior Bowl. So it'd be Arnold and then Mitchell. I think everybody else is behind those guys. I think he's moved ahead of Nate Wiggins. I think he's moved ahead of Kool-Aid McKinstry. Just what he showcased, man, in press man and tight coverage. He blew me away, man. Him and Darius Robinson. I said JPJ Drew was the best offensive guy. Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Robinson were the two best defensive guys out there at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, that patience, that was crazy.
I can't disagree. And as we talk about in terms of that cornerback position, when you get beat, how do you come back? And he always came back. Him and Roman Wilson were going at it, rep for rep. You know, and Roman got him one time where he kind of slipped. It was at the end of practice where you got to choose who you wanted to go up against, and Roman got him. But yeah, man, he had one box to check, bro. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think Juice, he got two boxes for Juice, but he had one box to check basically, and that was, can he play man coverage? What does that look like? And
press.
He looked
from a press
alignment. Excuse me, press. Yes,
alignment.
From a press alignment, and he looked fantastic. He didn't look out of place. He looked extremely comfortable, and makes you wonder why he didn't play more of it. I think he likes to play off. It just gives him. He would rather, kind of look at the ball and look at the receiver and come and play the ball versus playing the man itself. But he looks just as comfortable doing that. So, yeah. Leggett or Leggett. Is it Leggett or Leggett?
Is it XL? Is it XL?
Oh, here we go.
You accept the XL?
Absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not. Leggett. Okay. Leggett had a good first day, and then he kind of tapered off second day, and then he did not practice third day. And we go back to one of the biggest concerns that we had with him, which is injury. They play it safe in terms of a guy being injured at the Senior Bowl because they don't want to mess up that guy's draft stock. And so, word on the street is he hurt his ankle. So, say, hey man, just chill. And there's an interview. I was, he was at the podium, and I was sitting there, and I was, he was talking, and NFL coaches asked him. They said, or not NFL coaches. Someone asked him, what are the coaches asking you? Like, what are they saying? He said, listen, they're asking me where did I come from? Right? Because I got 1 year of production. You know what I'm saying? So where have I been? And I've been in college 3-4 years. Right. And so he said, I've been hurt. Right. And that's the biggest thing that we got for him outside of, making sure that he can, run routes, crispier than run routes crispy. Let me just leave it there. Crispier. Hey man, we make up words here. But somebody type that in the chat. Crispier routes. They got to be nice and tight.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you, Drew, as far as the play by date. Now, I don't think Leggett was bad day one, right? I think some would say that he struggled.
No.
I know what you said. I know you said. You said you actually intimated that he had a better day one than day two. I disagree with that. I think day two is where he came alive. What I'm saying is that day one. What I'm saying is day one. I think he suffered from some bad quarterback play, and he was kind of knocking off some rust, right? And the area of his game that he needs to improve, right, is the route running, right? Particularly the release, right? Yeah. He's got to do a better job of getting into that pattern, getting into the stem. But the physicality at the break point, obviously the speed, the body control, all of that plays. He's still inexperienced because of those injuries, as you mentioned. He's still inexperienced. So certainly that there's work to be done, but but not for that injury. I think he would have turned even more eyes. I was encouraged. I was expecting him to bounce back day two. He did. So I'm encouraged by that. I wanted to see more, right? I think that's the only disappointing part is I would have liked to see more, but certainly encouraged by how he picked things up. And again, he stacked defensive backs day one, right? It's just that the ball never got to him. You know what I mean? He clearly had a step or two on those defensive backs, and the ball never got to him. What about you, Heather? Your thoughts on Xavier Leggett?
Yeah, I thought day one, folks was out there, killing him about how he performed, and maybe he's not this guy that we thought he was. But I thought, like Drew said earlier, I thought he was open. I thought he got behind guys. I just thought the quarterbacks didn't get it there. It wasn't good throws. So it's nothing in his control why they say he struggled. I thought he did absolutely well. I thought day two, he came back and he did even better. The balls finally came to him. He caught those balls. He was physical. He's not a big time separator, but he creates enough separation. He's very sudden in his game. So, I thought he was performed well in day two. Also, I thought they were just a little too harsh on him in day one. I thought he did really well the Senior Bowl week. I think his stock to me is still right there at wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. End of round 1, day 2, beginning of round 2. I think he's right there in that range.
Day 2.
Yeah, right there in that range. But the height was a big thing because you had him at 6'3" or 6'1". He was 6'1" when they measured him, but that doesn't affect his game at all, man. He plays like a 6'3" guy, even though he's 6'1". He goes up and get it. His run after the catch ability is amazing. So the main thing, like you said, Drew, I think with him right now is availability. He has to stay on the field. He can't be injured all the time. So that's the only concern I really have with Xavier Leggett.
And Jake makes a great point right here. He makes a great point right here. His best route of the practices was a comeback route, and coming out of that, he looked like he was dragging his leg. You understand what I'm saying? So he was hampered. He was hampered. At some point, he aggravated something, and of course, it cost him day 3 of the practices. So you're right. You're right. The biggest question mark to me isn't necessarily the development that needs to take place that we haven't necessarily seen in certain aspects of his game. It's about being available to actually do the developing. You know what I mean? That's my biggest concern with him, and I understand why that's gonna scare some folks off when it comes draft time, for sure. Let's talk about Tyler Guyton, Drew. Think he sold he sold up that first round selection?
Yeah, I think he may have, because once that run on the tight ends, run on the tackles start, I think he's going to be a part of that. I think he's probably I don't know. It depends on how people see him. You know, I could see, you know, he could be tackle 6, 7, something like that. Maybe 5 for some people because they look at him and they say, man, we can work with. He's got a nice size. I think he could fill in a little bit more because he's kind of a I don't want to say thin.
Let's work through this. Let's work through this.
Okay.
I do want to talk about what you saw from Tyler Guyton, juxtapose that against what your concerns were going into this week. Right? There's a reason why we wanted to see him. You understand what I'm saying? And he is all of 6'7" and 300 and whatever. He's all of it.
320,
right?
327, something like that.
He's all of that. He's all of
Right.
that. When we talk about the tackles, who do we have definitively above Tyler Guyton at this juncture?
So you
we got Alt, Olu,
Mhm.
Fuaga,
Mhm.
Mims,
Bautanu.
Yep.
Mims.
Mims. And that might be. That's where the conversation get like to Guyton.
Yeah, you start to
Guyton.
okay,
you got Kingsley,
Latham.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, JC Leclerc's ahead of Guyton too. I forgot about Latham.
Okay, so you're he's like 6'7" for you. He's like 6 or 7
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
That's when the conversation begins for you. And I think there's going to be about 7 offensive tackles that go in the first round in this draft.
First round. So yeah, he's
loaded.
He's firmly in there.
Is loaded.
He's firmly in there. If he doesn't go to the Senior Bowl, he's probably not. We're probably not talking about him going in the first round, right? But now that he went to the Senior Bowl and he showcased against all different types of edges, and he won more than he lost, and his ability to get out and get up and get down the field, saw that a couple of times in the 11 on 11. You know, he did his thing, man. I love to watch him. He was a guy that, you know, I thought could be one of the top tackles coming out. And he showcased that in the Senior Bowl, not necessarily throughout the season, because a lot of our biggest concern, my biggest concern with him is his hands matching his feet. And he did that consistently here at the Senior Bowl or at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, that would be come on, Jake. Come on, that's greedy, man.
Oh my God, Christian Haynes. Yeah.
Yeah, I see some comments, or at least one comment here regarding Fautanu being switched to guard. I think that's still a possibility depending on the landing spot, right? Certain teams are going to view him as a guard as opposed to tackle, although I think we all agree that he should be fine at tackle, just fine at tackle. The guy I think may end up getting moved inside is Morgan.
Yeah, Jordan
Morgan.
You going to do it, bro? You gonna do it?
We're going to talk about it a little bit more when we get to that particular position group. But I think based on what I saw this week, it's not that the short arms are stopping him from playing tackle necessarily in my eyes. It's just his approach.
Stopping him.
Yeah. It's his approach, right? So I'm going to save that. But I think it's more likely he gets moved inside. Just based on what I've seen on film. He gets moved inside than Fautanu. So we'll see how that plays out ultimately. What about you, Helly? Your thoughts on Guyton?
Yeah, he impressed me. Especially, day one he came out firing. It's certain technique things you see that he has to improve. His feet and his hands, he just got to work more in unison. But the size, the power, the speed, how he handled some of those pass rushers, it impressed me. I was on record saying that, it would be scary to draft him round 1 because of all the things he needs to work on. But yeah, I can see him now in that round 1 conversation. I think he showed improvement. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets drafted in front of guys like, Latham and Mims maybe because of the upside. But, I really like him as a first-round prospect right now. And I think, once he gets into the league, you might not want to throw him out there day one and say, hey, you're starting day 1. But, middle of the season, end of the season, especially year 2. I think he's going to be a guy where year 2, you're going to be like, okay, now I see why he's a first-round guy. So, I like his prospects at the next level.
I'm with it. Michael Pratt was a guy that I was looking forward to watching just because, I wasn't expecting significant change in terms of how I view the likes of Michael Penix Jr. Obviously, as we mentioned before, we're very high on him. Bo Nix, who certainly has helped himself a lot over the last couple of seasons in Oregon. I didn't expect them to make huge strides for my purposes. Now, as it relates to NFL teams and scouts front offices, that's a different story. But I was really interested to see if Michael Pratt could kind of force his way into the conversation. We know how live Spencer Rattler's arm is. Obviously, there's a little rough around the edges, takes too many chances at times, but very live arm. I wanted to see Michael Pratt, see if he was willing to spin it, push it downfield, make some plays, help his cause a bit more. And I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it. It was more of the same along these quarterbacks. And again, it was one of those things where it's like so many of them are playing so conservatively, so tight that it just seemed odd. It just seemed odd that nobody among that group on either team really let it rip. We saw a little bit more on day 3, just a little bit more, maybe later in day 2, but it wasn't enough for my liking. So I was disappointed. I was disappointed. Not to say that Pratt face planted necessarily, but he didn't move the needle at all. He didn't move the needle at all for me. What were your thoughts on him, Headley?
Yeah, I didn't see much of Pratt, man, to be honest. Like you said, the quarterback play was kind of down. Didn't push the ball down the field, but he wasn't the only one not doing that. So, yeah, I didn't see anything in Pratt that to make me move him up or down the board. I think, he is what he is. I think he's a backup quarterback at the next level.
I thought he had some throws that he made when I was watching the 11 on 11. Now they were far few in between. They were outside the numbers. I know a guy outside the numbers. There's a guy I know that people are talking about going first round that can't throw the ball consistently outside the numbers. Michigan. But Pratt was doing that out there at the Senior Bowl. But again, the issue with the quarterbacks, you could not do a full evaluation on those guys. And you know what? We probably should have had Penix grade out too, bro. Just any quarterback. Just grade everybody out, bro.
Just grade everybody out.
Yeah, because they didn't get a fair shake as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like I said, I saw enough of Penix, even though it wasn't a brilliant week from him. I saw enough of him to because my concerns weren't nearly as significant, I guess.
Yeah,
as the
that's true.
consensus. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. We were all disappointed. We were all disappointed. And Jake mentioned, Pratt threw some ducks on day 1. Yeah, there were. Spencer Rattler threw some ducks.
Everybody,
I don't know, and that's part of the reason why we take day 1. We kind of, there's a bit of a curve.
That's the one position I don't kill them for.
Quarterbacks, we let them kind of get settled in a little bit, but it just never happened for most of those guys. It just never happened. The light bulb didn't go on, or they didn't let it rip, or whatever the case may be. So disappointing performance there. Overall, at least from my perspective. I touched on Malachi. Well, pause that up. I alluded to Malachi Corley earlier. He's a dynamo, man. He's a dynamo. He's a tone setter, man. I said on Twitter, it seems like he plays like he got a spare skeleton in the closet. You understand what I'm saying? That kind of leverage, that kind of physicality and tenaciousness, that is infectious. That permeates the locker room, the team. That can get your team going. That can get your defense engaged. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes guys are just on the bench and, just waiting for their opportunity to get back on the field, not necessarily keyed into the game. I think with a guy like Malachi Corley, you're always on the edge of your seat, man. So I'm all in. As I mentioned, he needs more polish from a route running perspective, but I'm all in, man. I'm willing to roll the dice and bet on him developing that particular skill set.
Yeah, I'm with you, Juice. We had all of us had a question marks on Corley coming in and the route running. That was the biggest thing. I know Drew, was hitting on that route running with Corley, but I thought he did well route running. I didn't expect him to be that good of a route runner as what I saw in those one-on-one drills. We know he's physical. We know once he gets the ball in his hands, he's like former running back. He's going to run through you. He's going to embarrass you. You just don't want to step in front of a Malachi Corley. But I was kind of encouraged with the route running that he possessed at the Senior Bowl. I thought he did well in the 11 and 11s also. Anytime he touched the ball, it was like, everybody sprung up like, hey, he like you said, it's infectious. The energy that he brings, everyone's rooting for him. So, my stock is up on Malachi Corley right now, and I'm with you, man. I'm all in on him too.
Yeah, I'm with you guys too. I'm on board.
There we go. There we go.
Watching the one-on-ones and the 11 on 11. I sweep. Yeah, you're right. I like the routes that he was running. You know what's crazy when he was running some of those routes, and the DB would just sit there and as he's approaching them because there's free release all day long. I think they thought they could stop him. He's like a moving brick wall. He would just run right through them like it was nothing. And most of the time they were surprised, caught off guard, and then he would just kind of run his route, catch it, and be up out, man. So it'll be interesting to see who drafts him and how they use him. But hopefully, you know, they do the right thing with Corley, which is get him the football. However you want to do that, he should have a couple of balls a game that you get him the football so he can do his thing, man.
Yeah, there's a
the Golden Tate comp.
Yeah, there's a touch quota that you need to hit every week with him. Every single, because he's going to be hell for a nickel defender.
Yeah,
those smaller nickel, bruh, they don't want those problems, bro.
Yeah,
they don't. No. They do not want those problems, man. You hear Malachi Corley coming, man. He's something else. He definitely is. Really, really impressed with his game. Right, and
he's got to go to the right team and situation, man.
Yeah,
that's what it's all going to depend on. Because if he goes to a coach that doesn't use his, his skill set the right way, then it could be a Laviska Shenault situation again, man. Sure. I think he's better than him, but you just got to get to the right coaching scheme, the right system to kind of show his skill set, man.
Unlock that.
It'll suck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to unlock it. It'll suck if he goes somewhere and they don't use him.
And that's exactly what I was getting at. Unfortunately, we or he can't control where he ultimately lands, but we're certainly looking forward to, hopeful that he lands somewhere that understands his skill set and leverages it, because he could be a difference maker, bro. Like I said, like he has a type of gravitas that changes the complexion of a game, the feel, the momentum in a game, right? He can rip off a 30-yard gain just out of pure determination and will, on some John Wick type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that kind of player. He's that kind of player, and you can see that he loves what he does. Right? Those types of guys. There's no other better way to describe those guys other than football players. That is what Malachi Corley is. He is an absolute football player. All right, let's do a little housekeeping real quick. As you can see, we are partnered with Underdog Fantasy. Check out that link in the description. Promo code CPGM. 2x your first deposit up to $100. All right, be sure to take advantage of that unique opportunity with Underdog Fantasy. I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. My season-long hit. Had a few extra stacks in the account. It was nice. It was a beautiful thing. So take advantage of that particular opportunity, and be sure to follow us on the platform formerly known as Twitter at CPGM NFL Draft. Be sure to follow us there. There's going to be a lot of draft content, not just during draft season, but over the course of the year. We are a 365 type of deal here. We're a year-round outfit here. We for those of you who are new to the channel, new to this particular show, the Second Half Draft Show, we do this once a week. We're actually going to transition to twice a week as the NFL draft gets closer here. But summer scouting, in season, obviously the off season is our peak season. We are on top of this throughout the season. So ensure that you stay tapped in, locked in with us at CPGM NFL Draft on X. All right. That takes us to what?
There's asking what round you think Corley, would you be comfortable drafting Corley?
Man, Corley's a weapon, man. I wouldn't bat an eyelash if you took him in the second round. Now, it depends on what receivers are available, what you're looking for at the receiver position. But he's not getting out of day two. He ain't getting out of day two.
I agree.
Chance.
Round two, round three. There.
Combine might change that for the better, for sure.
All right. Let's get into our first and second all 2024 Senior Bowl team. So we did this last year. And we identified the players we thought. And of course, it is challenging. It is challenging narrowing it down to just a select handful of players at each position to be considered on the first or second team. But we've made that attempt. We've debated on a few topics, and of course, we'll let CPGM Drew, myself, CPGM Hadley discuss why we should have gone in a different direction, right? You know, somebody may have been overruled 2-1. So we'll have that conversation as well. But here we are.
Hold on, real quick.
Here we are.
Here
we go. Here we go. Again.
I got to do it, bro.
Again.
My name was called, bro.
Let me cook, man. Wait for an opportunity.
No. Turn the stove off. Turn the stove off. Right quick, bro. You feel me?
So wake up, Drew.
Listen, I'm in the room. I'm in a chair that's uncomfortable, man.
Yeah. Throw that out there.
So y'all didn't have any echoes. You feel me? I took the bullet. You feel me?
Oh, we appreciate you, Drew. We appreciate you, bro.
Right.
Taking one for the team.
All right, go ahead.
All right. First team. The first team. And
in the room like a child, bro.
Hey, man.
In the room
you
like
got banished.
Child, bro.
You got banished.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler, I think, had the best week among the quarterbacks, right? Again, some peaks and valleys there. Day one was a bit of a struggle, but you could see him, especially when he started to find that connection with his teammate Xavier Leggett on day two. The confidence grow, and he started to let it rip. And of course, we are well aware of the arm talent there, right? It comes down to decision making. It comes down to situational football with Rattler. So. Very intriguing prospect. I think he helped himself this week. Not quite as familiar with what the rumblings are as it relates to the interviews, which obviously is a big part of this process, but certainly on the field, he played the best among the quarterbacks. Our first team running back, this one, I think we were kind of back and forth. I didn't get any real feedback from you on this one, Hadley, other than the names that were given. But Marshawn Lloyd, we have him slated as the first team back here out of USC, dynamic back. Roman Wilson was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. I thought among the receivers, he was the most consistent. Ladd McConkey probably had the best single day, perhaps. Day one for McConkey, but from start to whenever he decided he didn't want to do this anymore, Roman Wilson was phenomenal. It didn't matter who was covering him, what type of route it was, short, intermediate, deep, it didn't matter. Roman Wilson was phenomenal. It begs the question, what was going on when they took the ball out of the air in Michigan with J.J. McCarthy, when you got this guy out here who seemingly can't be covered? So, but he certainly has helped himself a lot. We just talked about Malachi Corley, and of course, he's on the first team here for obvious reasons. And the aforementioned Ladd McConkey rounds out our receivers on the first team.
Hold on.
Theo Johnson. Go ahead. Here we go.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Whoa. What we got?
Bro.
Egregious. You see something?
Yeah. What are we doing? Where's my guy, bro? What's the Gator, bro?
The Gator? The receiver? Persol?
That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, bro.
Nah.
What?
Nah.
He didn't even have to finish the week. Neither did Roman Wilson. But my man is on the list, bro. First team.
Drew.
Egregious.
Drew. You had an opportunity.
Where's Ricky, bro?
You had an opportunity to weigh in.
I thought Ricky was on it.
Whose fault is that, bro? That is your fault. That's a you problem.
Bro, I thought we discussed this.
That is a you problem, bro.
It's fine, bro. It was a mistake, bro. Just admit it was a mistake.
It's another guy I could mention that could have been the first team, but we'll talk about it. Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice.
No. We
Brendan Rice.
No.
Y'all didn't like Brendan Rice out there?
He dropped too many passes.
I thought Rice.
He had a good week.
In the conversation, but the drops were too many drops, bro.
Too many drops.
All
right, I need that. You know,
and that showed up in his film. As much as I like Brendan Rice, I mean the physicality was clearly on display day one. He started routing cats up day two.
He looked like an alpha.
Yeah, no, bro. He's different, bro.
Yeah,
like his play style is nothing like his dad's, bro.
Yeah,
like he got a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if it's because he's always been considered Jerry Rice's son or not. I don't know where it comes from, but he got a chip on his shoulder, bro. Like he does look like an alpha, but the drops,
I got you.
The drops continue to be an issue with him. Absolutely. D Kid, Jake, they're with you, Drew. They're with you.
So say, bro. So I'm gonna hold you accountable, and bro, I need.
So
you
who
to
you
say,
taking off the list? Who you taking off the list?
I'm taking Malachi Corey off the list. What?
All right. As long as you
Easy.
ain't doing Roman or Lad, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Again,
Juice?
he
Front of the congregation.
let the congregation know that this guy had an opportunity to make it clear to go bang on the table, and he did.
I didn't know you didn't put him on. Had I known,
you didn't know. That means you know what it is. You know what your problem is. You don't
What's
read.
my problem, bro?
You don't read, bro.
I skim, bro. I skim. You feel me? I skim, bro. Listen. I didn't check the receivers because I assumed he was on the list.
Okay. All right.
So,
all right. If you say so. Mrs.
Right.
Zebrowski, Tez got better through the week, but the drops,
bro.
The drops were problematic, and he struggled with physicality. He struggled with physicality. You can't do both. You know what I mean? Pick a struggle, as Drew likes to say. Pick a struggle. You know what I mean? But Tez is incredibly intriguing. Tez is going to be a difference maker. As long as he can get those drops under control, he's going to be a difference maker.
Yeah.
All right. Along the offensive line, we have Kingsley. I thought Kingsley might have been. He might have been the most consistent tackle. Even maybe just as consistent as Fuaga, bro.
Fuaga, yeah, I'd put them both in the same category. Yeah.
Like it was kind of boring with Kingsley.
Yeah.
Fuaga had a couple of reps where he sat down a lot too, and you understand what I'm saying? It was sexy.
Yeah.
But Kingsley was very consistent throughout all three practices. Christian Haynes was phenomenal. Headley, you were one of the first people I know that really identified Christian Haynes. Jackson Power Johnson stole the show.
Yeah, he did.
One of the things that really jumped out to me was how patient he was, particularly when he was blocking Michael Hall. Because Michael Hall is like a Tasmanian devil with that spin move, bro. Like, he's a problem. That quickness, that burst, that he's a problem. But Powers Johnson was always patient, waited for him to spin, was right there with his hands, reset his hands, dropped anchor. Very, very good work from JPJ, Drew. All right. And as you mentioned, Headley, potential top 15, certainly top 20. Generally, those interior guys, and it didn't matter whether it was center, guard. We had talked about maybe, being scheme specific. I don't see it, bro. I think he could thrive in any scheme.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah. So he certainly has helped himself a lot and is certainly deserving of Senior Bowl first team. Maybe a little debate here with Javion Cohen. I'm hearing some rumblings.
Yeah, but
this wasn't my idea. This was Headley's idea. This wasn't even my idea.
Oh, that wasn't your idea?
I just threw out some names, bro.
I'm not gonna argue with you. All right, so who would you put at interior over Cohen?
I mean, you could throw Isaiah Adams in there.
Okay,
you could actually throw the Gator in there. I thought he had a great week. Those are probably the two
he had a good week
from Kansas. Pooney.
Oh, you can put Pooney in there too, yeah.
Pooney,
yeah, you can put Pooney in there.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And the aforementioned Fuaga rounds out first team offensive line. So, a little debate, a little debate here. I think Kingsley may have sewn up first round too, bro. I wouldn't count him out.
So let me ask you, between everybody here, right, the offensive line, you're saying Kingsley was the best?
For my money,
JPJ, bro.
Jackson Power Johnson was the best.
All right, take him out. I wouldn't even think about him.
What I'm saying about the tackles this week, I think Kingsley had the best week, bro. I think he had the best week. I know people are going to think Fuaga.
I think
and certainly what Tyler Guyton did is impressive, but I think Kingsley had the best week, bro.
I'm not going to Fuaga had the best week. Kingsley had a great week also. I think day 3, who was that was getting them over there? Some edge rusher, getting them on the speed rush on the outside. I forgot who it was, but he kind of struggled with that on the right side. The left tackle reps from Kingsley, those were his best reps. I think when he went to the right side, he struggled a little bit on day 3. But yeah, I think he solidified. Like you said, he's probably a first round guy. Him and Tyler Guyton, I think both of them solidified first round selections at the Senior Bowl. Christian Hayes, Jackson Power Johnson. I think those guys were beasts on the interior. I think those were the two best interior offensive linemen. Hayes
agree.
is just that anchor that he has, that quickness to get out there in the run game to the second level. He can handle power. He just, like you said, it kind of looks boring for him also with Christian Hayes. He didn't really get beat all week. So I do like that Christian Hayes right there. As far as the running back, Marshawn Lloyd did his thing, but if Rasheen Ali didn't get hurt day one,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That boy looked different out there. He looked like he was on that Tajay Spears fast track out there, man.
He was actually the most impressive back at the Senior Bowl, right? We just didn't get to see him for an extended period of time. We only got to see him for one practice, but he was the most impressive running back. I agree with you there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
his patience and vision was different, bro. It was
he
different.
Looked good. He looked good, man. But Marshawn Lloyd did his thing too. He could catch out in the backfield. His movements are different, man. You know, Marshawn Lloyd could stop on a dime, break you off, and he has a lot of speed and catch the football. And as far as the wide receivers, I see y'all boys showing some love to my guy Ladd now, man. Y'all seen Ladd out there, huh?
Your guy Ladd. No, well, apparently up in the comment section.
Right? Somebody said.
Listen. Ladd had a really good. I mean, he had a terrific day one. He had a good day three. Day two, they got him. They got up in Ladd.
Pause. You gotta get physical with him.
Yeah.
With him.
But we anticipated Ladd McConkey having success, particularly in these one-on-ones. His skill set, you know, the nature of one-on-ones. We anticipated he was going to be successful, and he was. He deserves credit for that.
And here you go right here. Monty said he's overrated. He's not overrated because I think his size is going to. It's everybody understands what he is, and people get excited because of his size and his ability to separate. But I don't think he's overrated. I think everybody just kind of understands what he is, and people just get a little excited. I don't think he's going any higher.
Yeah, than, like a day two slot wide receiver.
Yeah,
you're gonna be a third receiver in your football team.
Here you are, and he
gotta pause it up, Jake. You gotta pause it up. You know what I mean? The phrasing's been rough. It's been rough.
Oh, man.
Drew,
I got an echo.
Check your volume. Yeah. Check your volume.
Oh, you know what I talk about? We kind of brushed past him. Theo Johnson from Penn State. That was the best tight end out there. By far.
Easily.
That boy could run some routes.
Easily.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's gonna be a day two guy. I think he increased his draft stock. He was getting open every single time, catching everything. Spanford, I like what Spanford did also, but Theo Johnson was far and away the best tight end out there for me.
You know, the thing about it is with Theo Johnson is that he was so good this week that you didn't necessarily have to be focusing on the tight ends to recognize how good he was, right? Even in your periphery, you could tell that he was doing work. That's how good he was this week. So I agree with you there, Headley, for sure. Let's turn our attention. I know there's a lot of people in the comments saying that such and such got snubbed. You know, there's two teams here. All right. Now you may say there's the first team snub, but there's two teams. Let's just wait on it. Wait a second for it. We'll probably get to your guy here on this next frame. So let's talk about the defense here from the first team. Darius Robinson. I'm going to say it now. It's going to be a first round pick. You probably have already heard the rumblings, depending on who you're tapped in with and some of the national analysts, but the way he played, the way that he was already kind of ascending our rankings as it is, the way he played and the way this young man is buttoned up from an interviews perspective, bro, I can only imagine those teams are going to be blown away, bro. This is a mature cat, bro. This is a mature cat that understands what he's trying to get accomplished here. He has things in the proper perspective. He's a leader on and off the field. I mean, absolutely buttoned up, bro. He's going to shoot up the draft board. He's going to climb. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to climb. And if you just want to talk about football, Drew, what was it that you saw that really impressed you?
His ability to play both inside and outside. First day, he did a bunch of damage. Am I echoing, by the way? Still bad? Good, bad? Somewhere in the middle?
Seems okay on our end. We'll hopefully the audience will let us know. It seems all right.
Yeah, let me know. I changed the Call of Duty settings. Yeah. So okay, thank you, D-Kid. First day he did a lot of work inside. whether it was the 1-on-1s, 11-on-11s, and he was winning. I mean, he's got that.
Oh, I think
We lost you, Drew.
Lost Drew.
We
Check that
lost you.
Wi-Fi, man. But who is he talking about? Darius Robinson.
He was talking about Darius Robinson. Go ahead.
Man, I got a name for him, bro. I call him the explosive bully. You know what I'm saying? He's the explosive bully out there, man. Just the explosiveness he comes off the line, the bully nature. He's just physical. Closes, like you said, he's buttoned up, man. To me, man, he's risen his draft stock higher than anybody else in this Senior Bowl. I think he's because before, he was going up on our boards, from like third round to second round, but now I don't think he gets out of the first round, man. The physicality he plays with, the versatility from the end to the inside. He wins inside. He wins at the edge, wide line. He could play many different alignments on your defense, but man, he was something to watch, man. Like I said, him and Quinyon Mitchell were the two best defensive guys out there at the Senior Bowl practices. And, man, the explosive bully, man, I think he's going to be a guy that every team's going to want on their football team.
Selfless, bro. And you're absolutely right, Heather. He's selfless, too. Asked him about, what type of alignment he likes as far as he said 4-eye. I'm like, okay, 4-eye. He said, yeah, just because I get to be physical. Yeah, he's not talking about getting upfield. He's not talking about getting upfield to go in and make plays and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? And the reports is that every snap, between every snap, he's talking with his guys, talking about this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm doing, this is what worked against this particular offensive lineman, sharing the information, bro. He talked about leading from the front, being a servant leader. Like when I say this cat is buttoned up, bro. And Drew told me. He told me he should have asked, and I just didn't. I came away so impressed just listening to the conversations he had. I didn't feel like there was anything else to add. You understand what I'm saying? But I wanted in my back of my mind, I was thinking, you know what? You'd ask him off the record. You're killing these interviews, aren't you? You're crushing these interviews because I'm telling you, that young man has won over a lot of teams, not just with his play on the field and the versatility that he offers inside, outside, as Drew was mentioning, but he just gets it, bro. He gets it. He gets the significance of this opportunity. He gets the significance of his role, right? And the fact that he's becoming a professional and what that means for not only himself but the people that look like him, aspire to do what he does. He's got a good head on his shoulders, bro. He's got a really, really good head on his shoulders, and it's going to serve him well during his career and after, post-career. It's going to serve him incredibly well. So came away really impressed by Darius Robinson. Absolutely. Go ahead, Drew. You want to finish your thought?
Yeah, I don't know where I stopped. What was the last thing I said?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
I think you're talking about his versatility.
No. You were talking about the versatility. You're talking about the versatility.
Yeah, it's his ability to play inside, outside. Like I said, the first day he was dominating inside, and then let's see what it looks like outside. Doing the same thing outside, beating offensive linemen, tackles, guards, centers with a bevy of moves. We always talk about guys who you're looking for to see. Are they beating guys with 1 and 2 moves or just one move? No, he's doing it with every tool in the tool shed: the swim, the push, the pull, the power, speed, the power. Like he's giving you everything. And he's coming from a school where they play games up front, right? So to do that, you have to understand what everyone else is doing on that defense and sending blitz behind that. Right. So where I'm supposed to be by the end of this play, what gap am I responsible for? Or am I the guy responsible for taking 2 guys so that my other guy can eat? Or am I the guy that's going to be one-on-one and I got to make sure I beat my guy? Right. And again, like you said, he wants to play that 4-eye and he loves to be physical, man. And you see it in his game, man. And he was consistently disruptive throughout every drill, every time, to the point where you can't miss him. Like you could not miss him, period, man. So I think he might be, outside of Jackson Powers Johnson, he might be the highest riser.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're talking about where guys get selected, but just in terms of where he was slotted as far as draft stock prior to the Senior Bowl, he's the highest. Yeah. He's the highest, bro. And And one last point on Darius Robinson, Heather, you mentioned it, the explosiveness, right? He said that as well. He said, get off is everything. Getting off the line of scrimmage at the snap is everything. Getting out of my stance quickly makes a world of difference. So there's truly an awareness and understanding that he possesses that I said, again, I really truly believe is going to serve him well. Michael Hall, like I said, Tasmanian devil inside, 3 technique extraordinaire. The quickness is blinding, bro. You guys have pounded the table for Michael Hall quite a bit. I think in our early mock drafts, some of our early mock drafts, you actually had Michael Hall in the first round, and at least one of them, Drew, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. He lands in the right situation. He's going to definitely be a difference maker. And of course, I know there are a lot of teams looking for guys who can affect the passer from the interior. You understand what I'm saying? That seemingly a lost art. You saw some of that in the likes of a Kobe Turner more recently here in terms of the young guys. It just makes a difference. It just makes you that much more dynamic on the defensive side of the ball. So really impressive week from Michael Hall. Again, the only guy that could really handle him was JPJ, Drew. T'Vondre Sweat, we discussed previously, the big bully. He turned it up a notch day 2. And we just basically saw the player that we've seen throughout this college football season. I actually spoke to him for a bit. Real cool brother, real laid back cat. He like I said, he's about his paper, which I understand. I can respect it. And I asked him about playing next to Byron Murphy, who was slated to be in this game, but is being projected as kind of a top 12, top 15 pick. And just that relationship, right? And playing off one another. And he said something interesting to me. He said, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? And we don't even have to like get each other gassed up necessarily. You know what I mean? He said, like, what's understood doesn't need to be said. You know what I mean? We just go out there and do our thing. You know what I mean? But I laid on the line for him and vice versa. So that dynamic is a very intriguing one, a very interesting one. Latu, I'm not going to add anything there. You guys already know how I feel about Latu. Been banging that drum for a very long time. Your thoughts on Sweat and Latu briefly, because we've already spoken about both of those players, and spend a little bit more time on Michael Hall.
Are you talking to me?
Whoever listens.
Whoever listens. You listening, Drew? Yeah, Michael Hall, man, this guy's like a bowling ball, low center of gravity, 3 tech. We've liked this guy since last season. He just gets after the quarterback. You need guys to get at the quarterback from the interior. That's the quickest way to the quarterback. So, I think him and Byron Murphy have a lot of similarities. I know the hype is on Murphy right now, but if you get Hall around later, I think that's going to be a steal in round 2. T'Vondre Sweat, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. He's a big guy. We talked about him earlier, just physical. And is he a first and second down player? Can he play on those passing downs? I like his hands. I like his hands to get after the quarterback. He'll do a swim move, rip. He'll do all those kind of moves. So I think he can push the pocket, throw the quarterback off base, get him into the edge. But I don't know how teams will look at Sweat. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, how much plays he's going to play game in and game out. Like, that's the biggest question mark. His endurance. Can he go a whole 4 quarters? So I think those are the question marks on T'Vondre Sweat. But he's a bully. And then Latu, man, we've been banging the drum on Latu for last season also. Just how he uses his hands, how he gets at the quarterback, how he can move consecutive. You talk about running backs, right? How they can do consecutive moves.
Chaining moves.
Latu does that as an edge rusher. He could do a spin move. Okay, you got that blocked up. Oh, I'm going to rip through you and still get to the quarterback, man. It's a lot of guys that doesn't possess those chain of moves as an edge rusher. He's just advanced as a pass rusher. So, those are the 4 guys there. I have no complaints on the 4 guys on the first team on defensive line.
Real quick, I'm just gonna mention one. Talk about Michael Hall real quick because you guys have talked about Sweat and Latu to y'all blue in the face, but I'm watching Hall in 11 on 11s, and he's done this for Ohio State as well, where he's responsible for his gap. He's penetrating his gap, and as he's penetrating his gap, and there's a guy in front of him, he's kind of working through that guy. The center who's next to him, he'll tap that guy, touch that guy, So if a linebacker comes through, which a linebacker was coming through because it was a run, that guy could no longer get to his guy or stumbled to get to the linebacker. So now the linebacker is free to make the play, and that happened numerous times when watching Hall. So when we talk about a guy who's disruptive and destructive to the line of scrimmage, that's what we're talking about with Michael Hall.
The
right?
line of scrimmage
So,
discriminator? Is he?
Yeah. I would say he's more of yeah. Let's go with it. Discriminate.
All right.
Line of scrimmage discriminator. As long as Jackson Powers Johnson isn't blocking him, but he was giving Jackson Powers Johnson that work.
No, he gave him work.
Like, it wasn't anything where he was skating.
That's why
that
Powers
was the
Johnson
one
was so
guy that was
impressive.
pressing him.
But that's the reason why Powers Johnson was so impressive, is that even though Michael Hall won early in the rep, Powers Johnson would recover. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. Michael Hall is filthy. He's filthy. You're looking for a 3 technique. You got one in Michael Hall for sure. Go to the second level of the defense. We got Nathaniel Watson. Drew, he stood out to you on tape. Headley, you seem to have the same sentiment as well. And then Peyton Wilson. I know there was a lot of discussion in the chat regarding Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson he's a blur, bro. He's
teleporting.
He's
teleporting,
bro. Just about. He just about teleports, because when he fires his gun, he triggers, bro. I found that very, very impressive. What about Watson's play stood out to you, Drew?
He's the ball go get ball kind of guy. The one thing that I like about linebackers, obviously them having instincts, but it's when you see the ball, you go get ball. There's no hesitation, right? You're reading your keys and you're following them, and you know that that guard or center, whoever it is pulling. I gotta follow them and I gotta beat them to where they're going. I don't want to meet them. I want to beat them. Right? Pause. And Watson was doing that consistently, right? Or if it's a screen pass, hey, I instinctually, okay, why are one or two of these guys kind of wandering over? Why is this guy not necessarily blocking me with the fire and the fervor that he normally would, right? Well, okay, this feels like a screen. And Watson was all over the place. One of those guys, again, when you're watching it, you can't miss it. And so I wasn't aware of him going into the Senior Bowl, but now when I come out of it again, because this is what we do here, right? You watch guys, and maybe you weren't watching them before, or maybe they tend to be a little bit different than how you scouted them. So now you got to go back to the tape, and you got to watch them. And this particular guy, I got to go back and watch Mississippi State and see, is what I saw at the Senior Bowl, is that who I'm going to see when I go to watch Mississippi State? And if it is, well, we got to have a conversation about linebackers now, and where does he fit in those linebackers, right?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say linebacker 1. I was like, oh, that's a little too
no, I wasn't going there. No, I got to watch the tape. I can't say that. I got to watch the tape.
Yeah, but Nathaniel Watson, he popped out to me when I was watching 11 on the 11s, just how he attacks to the football. He get through the line, he get to the edge. He did everything. The instincts. You saw the instincts a lot with Nathaniel Watson. So I was like, okay, this is a guy to watch, number 14. But when I saw the one-on-one drills against running backs and tight ends, the covering ability, he got to improve that. You want to be a 3-down linebacker at the next level, you got to be able to cover those guys coming out of the backfield. I think that's where he struggled. But as a run stopper, I think he's excellent. I think he has very good instincts. Just the pass game, man, I think he needs to improve upon that. So we'll see. I'm going to go back and watch the tape too, Drew, because I didn't watch any tape on Nathaniel Watson. I didn't even know who he was until now. So, that's somebody I'm going to go back and watch. And Peyton Wilson, man, this is tape I did watch, man. Speed, the motor. You'll see it on film where he'll chase down wide receivers 40 yards down the field. Yeah. He'll get there, man. He got some instincts. He goes sideline to sideline. I wanted to see him in pass coverage. That's why I really wanted to check him out on those one-on-one drills in the Senior Bowl. I thought he did well. He did get beat on a couple plays, but you're gonna get beat. But he showed some athleticism there. Peyton Wilson, the biggest concern with him will be the injury concern. He's gonna be an older player. I think he's gonna be 24 years old. So we'll see. That's probably gonna depress his draft stock, the age and the injuries. But if you get him in the second round, day 2, I think that'll be a steal in day 2. He could be a plug and play starter at the second level for your defense.
And he has a brother who plays for the Brewers. He said he just got re-signed. So he's got some sports. Got some guys that's playing in the league. I was standing there as he's being interviewed by a couple people, and he says he's in contact with Luke Kuechly, right? So that's a guy. That's a Hall of Famer, right? Is that a Hall of Famer? Is he a Hall of Famer?
He should be.
We giving him that? I don't know. He got injured.
I think the only thing that would stop him is the length of time he played.
Of time he played,
he
right?
certainly played at a high enough level to be a Hall of Famer, but
right,
the length,
right,
yeah.
Yeah, and playing at NC State, man, they used them in a lot of different ways. I think pass coverage is probably one of the ones you didn't get to see a lot of it because they played a lot of zone. I want to see him in a lot more man. I think he's fine in zone, but he was, middle linebacker, outside linebacker, edge, hand in the ground. Like he was all over the place. And I think if you're going to draft him, I think that's how I would use him, right? Could he play in a 4-3, sit back and play the normal, middle linebacker, strong side, weak side? I think he could do that. But I think you're doing him a disservice if you do that. I think he needs to be an attacking linebacker at the second level, man, because he's gonna cause a lot of problems for a lot of offenses.
All right, and we round out this Senior Bowl 2024 Senior Bowl first team with a handful, a fiver of defensive backs. Quinion Mitchell, we've discussed previously, answered any lingering questions that we had regarding coverage, particularly in press alignment. I'd like to see more physicality. I think on tape, I'd like to see a little bit more physicality in terms of tackling. But certainly, the ball skills were never in question. It really was a matter of whether or not he could consistently flip the hips, get in and out of breaks along with the receivers, show the requisite patience and technique in press, bump and run, and he absolutely did. And not only did he demonstrate an ability to do so, he thrived doing it. Right, even with the one-on-ones that again heavily favor the receivers, he was phenomenal. So very, very deserving of this first team nod here. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. competed heavily. Even when he got beat, he would get back into phase, and I thought he did a really good job on that American team. Andrew Phillips really stood out to me as well. I was very impressed by Phillips. I wasn't terribly familiar with his game coming into this week, but he really stood out. There may be some debate as to Cameron Kitchens, but I think if you're talking about the safeties overall, I think he was certainly among the top two safeties in this particular Senior Bowl, in this showcase. And another guy I like, and not to say that I didn't like Kyrie Jackson, but among the big corners, right? Jarvis Brownlee, Cam Hart, bro. Cam Hart mixed it up, man. Gave Tez Walker some work. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Cam Hart. I like what I see from Cam Hart, man. I like what I saw from Notre Dame defensively this season. I never thought I would say that with an Al Golden coached group. But certainly Cam Hart stood out to me. Very smart player as well. Very intelligent player, understanding how to approach certain things, how to attack, how to eliminate certain things from a leverage perspective. And then he uses that frame very well. So really like how he performed this week. What about you guys? Let's talk about Brownlee, Phillips, and Hart in particular.
Yeah, I thought Hart was always where he was supposed to be. He was always around the football. I thought he played some really good reps on Brendan Rice. He got physical with Brendan Rice. So he was always in position. I love his film at Notre Dame. Can't argue with Cam Hart on this list. The guys that surprised me the most was Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Andrew Phillips. Those guys were in hit pockets all week long, man. They were just sticky, just being right there. They were jumping a lot of routes. It's like they kind of knew what was going on. They read and reacted, and they were right in position on a lot of different routes. And we talked about Quinion Mitchell. That's cornerback 1 or 2 right now, man. Just the size, the physicality, the speed. He has it all. And that tackling issue, Juice, I do see it, man. I call it business decisions, and he does make a lot of business decisions out there on the football field. And then Cam Kitchens, you could argue Javon Bullard over Cam Kitchens, but Cam Kitchens, I think he's definitely ahead of him in the safety position. But how they performed this week, I liked how Javon Bullard from Georgia did this week as well. So yeah, I like these guys. I like all of these guys here on the DB list.
You thought Bullard was better than Kitchens in the one-on-ones?
Yeah, I thought Bullard did his thing. But he did his thing on the 11 on 11s also.
Gotcha.
Javon Bullard.
Okay. DK, I thought DJ James played well too. I think he certainly was in consideration for either of these two teams. I thought that Auburn contingency between him and Pritchett, I like what I saw.
Them too.
I like what I saw from those two, and I thought Chris Abrams-Drain did a pretty good job this week as well. I thought those SEC representatives held their own for sure.
Yeah, I thought Missouri, a lot of Missouri guys, even the running back Schrader. We talked about Dennis Robinson, Abrams-Drain, even Javon Foster. I like what he did in 11 on 11s in the run game. You know, so I thought all those Missouri guys really showed up at the Senior Bowl this week.
I can go. I'm good.
Yeah, you could go.
Okay, appreciate you.
Dead air, bro. What's happening,
man? Yeah, man, that gets you fired in the radio.
Not good, bro. Dead air's not good, man.
No, YouTube, you allowed though. You know, there's grace there, right?
Yeah, you're live, man. This is live, bro.
Yeah, it's still grace.
Man, I hope the audience understands what I deal with. Do you understand what I deal with? I got this.
You don't
this
deal with
guy
much, bro.
Drew. This guy Drew is a loose cannon, bro. He's a loose cannon.
You need a loose cannon, bro. You need a loose cannon out there, bro.
But you do, though.
Yeah,
but you do, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep doing it, bro. I love it, man.
You feel me? All right, so I guess I'm gonna start. I'll start with Cam Hart. Cam Hart and Jarvis Brownlee, both those guys. Yeah, I'll go with both of them. Both those guys. I like them both. I think the thing that comes to mind when I think about both of them, physical guys, willing to get in the receiver's face, want to play. They want to play through the receiver, right? I think Jarvis Brownlee Jr. What do you say? Drew is stirring the pot. I am. We cooking out here. We cooking, baby. We cooking. Brownlee, he has to keep things in front of him because once he gets, I think I want to know his speed. Can anybody let me know what his speed is? Can you Google that for me? Can you let me know what that speed is? Because that's one concern I have with him. And in terms of Cam Hart, I mean, he is what we thought he was. Do we know what he thought he was?
What's that, Drew?
Is that air?
No, like I said, Cam Hart, physical, plays through the receiver. I like his ability that, you know, if he happens to get beat, he's willing to come back and continue to fight and play his game, right? Headley, you were incorrect about Cameron Kitchens. I struggle with. I want to say Kitchens, like the kitchen. Kitchens. I disagree in terms of. I thought Cam actually played better in the one-on-ones than Bullard. I thought Bullard got caught a million times flat-footed. Like I can't tell you how many times I watched him, bro, and I'm concerned.
It's the reason why I asked the question. I don't think
I'm concerned with him.
I don't think either was phenomenal in those one-on-ones.
Right.
But it's the reason why I asked the question. But you know,
I'm concerned with him. I'm concerned with Jalen Simpson.
Yeah, Simpson. They shouldn't put him out there.
It was bad, bro.
Receivers.
Bad.
Every
I was
time
like,
he
yo,
a receiver, I'm like, he shouldn't be guarding these receivers. That's not.
He's 10 yards off, still getting beat, bro. I watched him in a route, bro. He's 18, 19 yards down the field, and still in back pedal. And if the ball wasn't out of bounds, he would have got beat, bro. It was bad, bro. And then Andrew Phillips, I love him, man. He I might rate him higher than most because of the ability, the way he plays the position, which is extremely physical, in your hip pocket. He's feisty. Don't matter the size of the receiver. He doesn't care. He's willing to put hands on you, turn and run with you, locates the football. I thought he had a really, really good week. And for some reason, I don't know. I think the Kentucky's starting to have some guys in terms of the secondary position, right?
Stoops for a while has been producing quality defenses. So ultimately they're going to be talented defenders coming out of that school, and it's becoming more and more
Wallace.
The norm. It really is becoming more and more the norm there. I would agree with you. You know what I mean? I'll echo that sentiment regarding Andrew Phillips. I thought he was really impressive. I thought day 3, he got a little too handsy. Day 3, he was right there in position, but didn't necessarily get his hands off the receiver soon enough. Drew a couple of flags there, but he was always in position. He was always in position there to make a play, and I think that's ultimately what you're looking for in these one-on-ones. You may not necessarily make the play, but being in position that means it's a good rep. Completion or no completion, being in the proper position, being in a position where you could make a play is typically considered a successful rep. So very impressed with his performance. All right. That's going to do it for our first team. Let's transition to our second team, and hopefully folks in the audience see the names that they expect here. And of course, if there's any debate, we will have that debate here. So with the second team at the very top, quarterback Michael Penix Jr. No debate there. I don't know why he's shaking his head. Why is he shaking his head?
No, I'm good. I'm good with Michael Penix.
Is Ricky Pearsall? Is Ricky Pearsall?
Yeah.
Is that the issue?
Ricky, bro.
There he is. There he is. He didn't even finish the week.
He's on the wrong team, though. He's on the wrong team, bro. Neither did Roman Wilson.
And Brandon Rice.
But Roman Wilson was better than everybody, including Ricky Pearsall. He was better than everybody. Come on now. Come on.
I'm not. But both of them didn't finish the week.
Your boy Ricky, as well as Ricky played, what's with the losing your feet?
Yeah, he did lose his feet a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
He did that at Florida too, so I would agree with that. I can't fight that, bro.
That is fair. That's fair. I don't know where to put him though. Over Cohen? You feel like he should be over Cohen? Or Bo Limmer?
That was one of the arguments we had. That was one of the arguments we had.
It was one of the questions. It was one of the questions.
Yeah.
Michael Wiley at running back. I'm a fan. I think he's terrific out of the backfield in the passing game.
Yeah.
I heard you guys mention Dylan Laub. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
From New Hampshire. Absolutely phenomenal as a receiver.
Yep.
Phenomenal, bro. He can route him up. He can make plays out of the backfield. He can be a slot. Listen, I'm telling you, he's going to be a coach's favorite. Scouts may not necessarily love him because he's going to be an older back. You understand what I'm saying? And he's not sexy as it relates to his running style. I think he's a no nonsense, north south, get downhill in a hurry type of guy. But coaches are going to love him because he can't be covered out of the backfield, bro. He's a natural. He's an absolute natural. Jamari Thrash, I thought, had a really good week as well. There was a point where he struggled to kind of locate the football on day 2, but overall, I think he really helped himself. Louisville showed up. Louisville definitely showed up at the Senior Bowl. Ricky Pearsall, the aforementioned Ricky Pearsall, he routes him up, man. He routes him up. He's got to keep his feet, but he definitely routes him up. I thought, and this was a little bit of a conversation here, and this goes back to the Brandon Rice conversation. I think in terms of, our draft stock and our intrigue with a particular player, I think Brandon Rice certainly moves the needle more than Luke McCaffrey. But as far as just consistency throughout the week, I thought Luke McCaffrey, not just in one-on-ones, but on 7-on-7 as well as 11-on-11, had a more consistent performance through the week. The drops are what really bit Brandon Rice, right? Drew, you were adamant about Jared Wiley. You were adamant about Jared Wiley, and the players would agree with you. He was actually voted his team's top tight end based on the linebackers and safeties on that particular team. Tyler Guyton, I got Tyler Guyon right here, but Tyler Guyton, Dominic Pooney, Bo Limmer, Isaiah Adams. Pooney and Adams, really impressive. I really like what I saw from them. And another Drew guy here, Javon Foster. Maybe a little bit of debate on that fourth tackle, maybe not. Let's talk about it, Headley.
Like I said, I like what the Missouri guys did. So I'm not mad at Javon Foster being that fourth tackle right there. I thought he got after it in the run game. If you watch those 11-on-11 drills, he's opening up a lot of holes, blocking down, getting to the second level. So I like what he did. It's some technique issues that he needs to fix. But even up against Darius Robinson, he's one of the few guys that kind of stayed in front of Darius Robinson. I know he got beat by Darius Robinson also, but he got Darius Robinson one time also too. So they kind of traded blows right there. Isaiah Adams and Pooney, those guys did work, especially Pooney, guard or center. He came in as a tackle, but he looks excellent as guard and center. Got that versatility there. Tyler Guyton, we spoke about earlier. My Brendan Rice, bro. That's one name I need to see on this list. I understand about the drops, so I give it to you guys because he had so many drops. But Brendan Rice is going to be, I think he's going to be an alpha, man. I think any team, second round, top of the second round right there, I think that's where he's going to go.
Top of the second?
I think he's a beast. I think he's the alpha out there.
I get it. The temperament.
He's an X.
He's an X. He is an X. I agree. But it wasn't a rash of drops that came out of nowhere though, Headley.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
No, I'm gonna go back to the tape.
That's the thing about him. He's nice, bro. He's nice. If he gets that under control, I hear what you're saying. I can't go early second round. Maybe at the turn, second, third
round turn.
Yeah, maybe right there, but I can't go top of the second round because those drops that we saw this week, because he's so busy being physical. He's so busy because I'm telling you, he's wired differently.
That's what
he's
I'm
wired
saying.
differently.
I think an NFL team might fall in love with that, man.
That's
his mentality. His mentality, man. And one of my favorite receivers or players, period, this whole Senior Bowl week was Jamari Thrash. That guy was impressive to me. The route running is so smooth. It's so nice. And we talk about route running and separation is the name of the game. I think he did it better than probably most of these guys on this list, man. He's one of my guys right now, man. Jamari Thrash, what he showed me this Senior Bowl week. And on tape also, you saw it there. I just want to know what he's going to run, how fast he's going to be. Hopefully he runs a good time.
He looked fast to me, bro.
Okay, good.
He looked. I mean, easy speed type fast.
Yeah, everything is so effortless with him. It looks so easy.
Yeah. It's a smooth acceleration. He don't look like he's real demonstrative, but the speed is there, bro. The speed is there for sure. Yeah.
So I think he's probably my Jaden Reed this year, man. A guy that I fell in love with. That going to be a day 2 pick. That's going to be an immediate impact for an NFL team. And Michael Wiley, man, this guy's. I know there's some lob and my other guy Schrader from Missouri, but Wiley possesses he's like a receiver out there. How he runs his routes and how he separates, it's like another receiver playing running back. So I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be well touted. And Michael Penix, man, we talked about it before, man. He didn't really showcase everything that he could. Guys weren't taking shots down the field, but we had to put somebody in the second team, right? It was that bad, man. So
it was.
He's better than Bo Nix.
Yes, he is. And I thought for his team in particular, right, that for that national team, I thought every day he had the best throw. Right? Yeah. There was always the throw. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. You know what I mean? And as far as the misfires and the throws, there were some of those as well, but just not as many as the other guys. Hartman, Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix salvaged his week. I think he salvaged it day 3, right? 7-on-7. Yeah. I think he salvaged it because the first 2 days he struggled. He struggled mightily. Get in there, Drew.
So
Ricky Pearsall.
Defend. I don't defend it.
Okay.
Well, for what? He good. We got it. Just know what it is, man.
He should have been on first team. He should have been on first team, apparently.
He know Malachi Corley should be here, bro. It's fine. We don't got to discuss that, bro. But Luke McCaffrey, as far as I know, he didn't have any drops. Brother's smooth, getting in and out of his breaks. He created a lot of separation.
I saw one.
Oh, you saw one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he took his eyes off the ball. Yeah. Ran a good route, took his eyes off the ball.
Those are the kinds of ones, those are the drops I can take because that's extremely fixable, right? A quick fix. So, but yeah, he created a lot of separation in the one-on-ones, man. I'd like to say he created separation in the 11-on-11s, but you know what was going on there. Jarrett Wiley, the TCU tight end, bro. When this man was running he was abusing linebackers and safeties.
Physical.
They looked like children to him, bro. The separation that he was creating was crazy, and he looked like a giant, and they looked like David, and they had no slingshot, bro. So you can only imagine how that story was going to go. No slingshot. Shut it down.
Slingshot. That's rough.
Yeah, it was looking embarrassing out there. So yeah, he was out there doing work. And you guys kind of talked about it in terms of the offensive line. I guess we can swap out Bo Limmer for Kingsley. Eka, I don't know how to say it.
UF Kingsley. UF Kingsley.
Yeah, UF Kingsley. He could play both guard and center. He was hurt this year, so he missed the first couple of games for the Gators. But I love his movement. I love his aggression. It's the kind of guy. He was kind of doing some Trevor Penning stuff, bro. He's just kind of pushing people, and after he beat him and stuff. So I like that there. Isaiah Adams loved the mirror and match technique that he was pulling off. I think his second and third day, I thought he played very, very well. Headley talked about Javon Foster in terms of, I think part of what his problem is I think he's a really tall guy. So I think he plays kind of high. So I think he needs to work on bending those knees and getting down. It's always tough for guys who are extra tall, man. So, and then Pooney, who was getting that work at center and at guard, and he could play tackle. He played tackle and guard in college, and so now you're kicking him inside. So and he looked good as well, strong at the point of attack. He's not a guy that you can move off his spot, right? You're gonna be battling, so he held his own for sure.
Pooney and Adams, they kind of had to find their sea legs that day one, but they settled in nicely. Day 2, day 3, settled in nicely. Pooney at center and guard, as Headley mentioned, coming in as a tackle, right? So the NFL organizations view him as an interior offensive lineman, and he absolutely looks apart. The thing about Pooney is, and I think you could probably say the same thing about Adams, but it definitely stood out with Dominic Pooney from Kansas, is he's got to make sure to reset his hands, right? He might not necessarily get a great punch initially, but if he resets his hands quickly enough in the rep, he has the functional strength, he has the ability to anchor to recover. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I like what I saw from those two guys in particular. I was impressed, and it really demonstrates what Mr. Seabrasky is saying, is that this interior offensive line group, we talked about tackle extensively, right? The interior offensive line group is pretty robust as well. It's pretty deep as well. Guys that play tackle at the collegiate level, they're moving inside, and I think they're capable of it. All right, let's turn our attention to the defense here. Isaac from Penn State, man. I mentioned before, he was the only guy I thought that really gave Fuaga any trouble, man. And it wasn't necessarily in the one-on-ones, but 11-on-11, man. Oof. Pass, speed in terms of the edge rush, and even in the run game, which is Fuaga's specialty, right? I thought Isaac was really the only guy that really gave Fuaga any kind of difficulty out there. You have Braden Fisk making his move inside. Drew, didn't you say because everybody gets 2 inches, right? Everybody gets 2 additional inches added to their height. He was being listed at 6'5", but he measured in at 6'3". The quickness inside. You know what I mean? The ability to get off the football. That's the name of the game. Fisk definitely demonstrated that. My guy Brandon Dorless, our guy Brandon Dorless, first day, I think he was trying some things, right? He was trying to do the spin move. He got put in a full Nelson at one point. Like he was playing a little under. He wasn't under control, right? He wasn't using his arms and that hand placement. He just wasn't using. And then of course, day 2, he got back to brass tacks. Day 3, built on it. Yeah, he looked like himself by the end of it. And by the way, I want to add this for those of you who may be interested. He measured in. He weighed in at 272, which was well below his playing weight. And I asked him that. I asked him specifically, what did you weigh this year? He said, typically I was at 285. The highest I was at 288. He came in at 272. And he was explaining to me, he's like, I'm going through a cut and bulk right now. So that 272 is not what he's going to ultimately play at. And I think for his purposes, I want him closer to 290. For him, for Brandon Dorless in particular, and and the flexibility he offers along the defensive line, I certainly want him a bit heavier. But I think he's trying to cut some of that fat and adding more muscle at the moment. So looking forward to him. A little debate. Who were you considering here, Drew? You want to talk about? You want to talk about who you were considering
Little
here?
debate.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a
Who's
second.
that? I
I'll get to it in a
got something to say
second.
too. I got
I
something
guess
to say too.
I'm gonna let you guys cook in just a second. Marshawn Nealon, I thought was very impressive. Inside out, didn't matter. Gave everybody fits. He could bend the edge. He could make the inside move. He could play with power, speed to power, convert it. Really impressive. The guy that maybe just missed out here would probably be Austin Booker from Kansas. That's where you were going. He very impressive on 11 and 11. Very impressive. He made, and we kind of teased it earlier. He may have forced Jordan Morgan to play guard, bro. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
He may have relegated Jordan Morgan to play guard at the next level, bro.
Mark the tape.
We mark the tape. We may have to come back to this one. Yeah. Dorless wasn't under control initially, bro. He was on something. He was on something. Oh yeah, that spin. He was working on it, Jake. He was working on it. JD Bertrand, Trevin Wallace. Again, there's another Kentucky player. I thought Elijah Jones was very, very competitive. He looked good this week. If you're not necessarily familiar with him, check the FSU tape. Take a look. Take a peek.
Lock down boy Coleman.
Tape. You mentioned DJ James earlier, D-Kit. Carlton Johnson, he battled as well. Javon Bullard, Headley, he comes in here on the second team. And then D-Kit's got Max Melton also. Drew, I don't know that Drew's on board with us on that one, but Headley, I thought Max Melton played well too. I'm with you on that one. I like what I saw from Max Melton. D-Kit says, where's McKinley Jackson? Where is McKinley Jackson?
Yeah, he did. McKinley did his thing too.
He's on the third team.
Yeah.
He's on the third team. Let's get your thoughts on the players here, Headley.
Man, the only thing I'll say was Austin Booker. He got to be on the list somewhere, man. I know a lot of the edge performed. You should have given him like a slash. Him and Nealon.
I thought about it. I thought about doing the Nealon Booker slash, bro. I thought about it.
Because Nealon, I think he's only like 240 pounds, but man, the arm length is there, the tenacity is there. He just gets to the quarterback every single time. He's a pass rusher, man. He's gonna be a pass rusher at the next level. He probably gonna need to put on maybe 50 extra pounds, to hold up against the run. But yeah, I liked what he did this week. But Nealon, he's a guy that I'm gonna go watch some more tape on this guy because he looks explosive from the edge, from the interior. He looks really, really good. He might be getting some first round buzz by how he performed here at the Senior Bowl. And then Dorless, Dorless was. The thing about Dorless is, I know he was trying some things in day one, but his tenacity, he's not giving up on anything. He's going to, even if he's backwards going to the quarterback, he's going to try to get to the quarterback, move him off his spot. So I love Dorless here on the second team. I know some debate about some other guys. Drew got Tyler Davis in there. And and your boy McKinley Jackson. I thought McKinley Jackson he moved really well for his size. So I do like what McKinley Jackson did. Isaac did his thing also. Bertrand, Trevin Wallace, Elijah Jones. I thought Elijah Jones I thought he got better and better each day. I thought Elijah Jones really dominated day 3. DJ James, I thought he was sticky. Him and his boy Pritchard. Pritchard's more the longer, bigger, physical guy, but DJ James very sticky. Got really good hips. Love what Carlton Johnson did all week. He battled all the time. Javon Bullard, he could have been the first team, but I'm cool here with the second team. And then Max Melton, man, I like how he plays. In and out of breaks. Max Melton, his tape is phenomenal, man. So I like Max Melton as a prospect.
Where do you see Max Melton playing at the next level? Inside or outside the numbers?
Inside. I like him inside the numbers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you, Headley. I considered the slash with Nealon and Booker. Something about Nealon though, bro. Something about him, bro.
Yeah, I
gotta watch more tape too, but something.
Yeah. He's explosive. He's explosive by his stance.
Yeah. We entered this week the last month or so, we were like, man, if you want an edge, man, you gotta get your edge early, man. Like you gotta get like I think after Trice, man, there's that fall off. And
Yeah.
now, as we've studied more tape and we've gotten to see some
Yeah.
guys live, I'm like, it's a
Not
deeper
necessarily
Some
position
other
true.
than
guys,
we anticipated.
Isaac, Neely,
Yeah,
Booker. Some
it's a
guys,
deeper
man.
position.
Some
Absolutely.
different body types too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now that becomes a question mark, right? How many guys do you have as a traditional 4-3 edge versus a stand-up
3-4. Or stand-up outside
linebacker?
linebacker.
You know, that
Yeah.
might be a little tricky, but it's a deeper edge pass rushing class than I think we had initially anticipated for sure. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Definitely. How about you, Drew? What's going on, Drew?
That there?
Yeah.
No, it froze, bro. I don't know. You know.
Are you sure?
It froze.
You
I
sure it froze,
positive.
bro? Are you sure?
Bro, we can run the tape back on my side. You feel me? Everybody's box was spinning. You feel me? I could hear you talking, obviously, right? But you know. But anyways, Radio Shack. Come on, bro. No, so we can start at the top. Adise Isaac, the guy was a blur. He has this move that he was trying to pull off a couple of times in the one-on-ones versus was it Fuaga? And Fuaga caught him almost every time in the one-on-ones. Flattened him out, where he would just kind of try to turn that corner, you know, and he's kind of crawling with one hand on the ground, trying to get flat. But in the 11-on-11s, it worked consistently. He tried it with Kingsley. He actually beat Kingsley with it. So you know that's kind of his saving grace, or maybe that's his ultimate move, right? But he flashed consistently, and he's a good edge defender as well in terms of the run game. Braden Fisk, this is a guy people were kind of talking about going into the Senior Bowl that they wanted to see and thought that he would do some things. And that boy's first step, that boy can get narrow, quick, fast, and in a hurry. And he's also someone who penetrates and causes a lot of disruption. May not necessarily make the play, but he's going to cause somebody to turn or go in a direction they don't necessarily want to go because he's where he's not supposed to be for the offense, right?
What do you guys think about Fisk? What do you? Sorry to interrupt you, Drew. But what do you guys think about Fisk's functional strength? His functional strength.
Functional.
I think in the run game he can get washed a little bit. You know, he's a guy that likes to win early. When he went early with that quickness, he could get after the quarterback. But I think he needs to get a little bigger. And I think his length, his playing length is probably what's going to hamper him at the next level. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what the team does with him. They got to get him upfield.
He can be a good rotational guy where you come in it's third down and, you know, and long, or it's just a passing situation. You let him just go do his thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that the system, the way he's deployed, is going to be significant, right?
Absolutely.
Right. You know, you mentioned him being a rotational guy, and yes, that's what we're kind of expecting out the gate. But you don't want to see Fisk in an odd man front. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
He needs to be put in a position to be successful, to leverage his skill set.
Wasted pick, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Pick,
but there's a lot of round peg, square hole type situations in the NFL. Yeah. So hopefully he lands in the appropriate spot. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, Brandon Dolis. I mean, y'all talked about it, and that's not where I wanted to go here. I wanted to go Tyler Davis. He was consistent from day 1 to day 3. He was doing a lot of Michael Hall stuff. The difference between him and Michael Hall is Michael Hall, it is more flashy in terms of how Michael Hall operates to win. Tyler Davis is a little bit more grimy, a little bit more put your hard hat on type stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Holding up at the point of attack, filling the gap as the running back is coming through. He's also a guy who will bump the next guy to free up his linebacker, and he does it consistently. And he's going to be one of those guys where Michael Hall will you'll see it, and it'll be production that you'll be able to see on a stat on a stat sheet.
Sure.
Tyler Davis to me will be the guy who necessarily that won't happen, but he'll be the guy freeing up other people and doing a bunch of things so other people can make plays. And it's usually it's the gritty stuff that you know, if you don't if you're a box score guy, you would think Tyler Davis isn't doing his job when he's the guy allowing everyone else to end up in the box score. If you understand what I'm saying, so that's kind of how I see Tyler Davis. I think he's one of the big risers coming out of the Senior Bowl. It'd be nice. It would be fun to see tomorrow how that works out for him. Marshawn Nealon, just a guy who he's hard to deal with. He's a lot to deal with, right? And I had talked about Dorless not giving up. Nealon's the same way, man. He's going to be a problem, and when everything is refined for him, when he gets that thing refined, when he get that NFL coaching, get that peer coaching, he might be a problem when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. The linebackers. Bertrand and Wallace. I talked about Wallace before last week. We talked about Wallace in terms of him. What was the phrase I used? He's a weak side linebacker with a middle linebacker soul. They had him playing middle linebacker. I think that's what he mostly played at Kentucky as well. I thought he fared pretty well in terms of stacking and shedding and clearing, or just causing disruption where it needed to be. So I thought he played well. And Bertrand, I thought he had a bad first day. Just wasn't where he was supposed to be, missing some tackles. But in the second and third day, the instincts kind of kicked in. He looked more comfortable. I don't know if he was trying to get comfortable with the surroundings and the team, the guys in front of him and those things, but he cleaned up and he was where he's supposed to be. Screen passes, he kind of figured those out and was where he was supposed to be on those, dropping back into coverage in the lanes and whatnot. Not that they were throwing the ball on the field, but he did a really good job. And then, it was a good one guy. Oh, Max Melton. Let's just get to that because y'all talked about the other guys. So I disagree about the Max Melton. D-Kid, I know that's one of your guys. Every time and maybe it was just the reps I watched, right? Sometimes, I don't know. I didn't. Every time I was watching him, he was trailing. He's got some long arms, and them things was just, they wasn't touching nobody, man. They was just flopping, right? And so I'm just wondering, like, he'll line up in front of somebody, and then those hands don't touch anybody. It's strange to me, man. Like, use your hands, use a hand, get a hand on somebody, hang in the hip pocket, feel the guy out. And he was just kind of letting guys run free, and he kind of run behind him. I know he's fast, but if you're always trailing a guy by a yard and a half, that doesn't do anything for you, right? So it's going to be a fight.
I just don't think it was as pronounced as you're describing it.
It was, bro.
I don't think it was as that pronounced.
Pull them up. I'm gonna show you, and you have to tell me what the hell was going on, bro. Because
you can show me, bro. It's cool.
But Drew, he might not have used those hands maybe at the Senior Bowl, but on film he does. He gets into the receivers. He's feisty. He has versatility, zone man. Right. I saw him in press man quite a bit over there at Rutgers, man. And from the slot, man, he mixes up his coverages. So the tape is really good. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they didn't tell him to put his hands on guys. I'm not sure what he did there at the Senior Bowl, but he's always in players' hip pockets. And I like his versatility, but I think at the next level, he's a slot corner all day.
There we go. I missed everything you said, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he froze up, man.
Oh,
something happened. What Henry was referring to was that he's acknowledging the fact that you mentioned that Max Melton didn't necessarily put his hands on the receivers a ton here in Mobile, but he says I see that consistently on tape. Right?
Oh yeah,
that's never seemingly an issue. So perhaps he was working on a different technique or what have you. Like I said, I don't think it was as pronounced as you described it. I want to go back to your comment regarding Tyler Davis, and I think it's an interesting conversation before we turn the page in and just work through winners and losers. We'll just rapid fire winners and losers to close things out. I agree with you, Drew. I think Tyler Davis in 11 on 11, which is most important. Nothing's more important than the actual football being played, right? That's how the game is played. It's played 11 on 11. I thought he was a difference maker throughout these practices. I agree with you. I thought Dorless was very much a difference maker as well. But on top of 11 on 11, he also did his thing on the one-on-one. So that's why I gave him the nod. Getting back to Tyler Davis, though, we were expecting big things, right? You alluded to it, those counting numbers from Tyler Davis in 2023 based on what he did in 2022. So I just wonder, and I think it bears going back to the tape, revisiting it. What was he being asked to do in 2023, right? Because seemingly he took a step back.
Mm-hmm.
But considering how he was used this week, right? His responsibility wasn't to go make the play, as in go make that tackle. You understand what I'm saying? It was not. Now he did a little of that. Don't get me wrong, but it was very much make the play so somebody else can finish. You understand what I'm saying? So that's something that I do want to revisit with Tyler Davis, because again, I think we were expecting, because of the twitch and his ability to get upfield that we saw in 2022, for him to build on that. We thought he was going to build on that and really, you know what I'm saying, take the pass rushing aspect of his game to another level. But
right.
The way, especially in 11-11, that he was able to hold up and they couldn't move him. They couldn't move him. You understand what I'm saying? He has that natural leverage built in as well. You know what I mean? It was impressive. It was impressive what I saw from him in the 11-on-11s, but still got to go Doris. All right. All right, gents. Let's get to it, man. Winners and losers. What you got?
Winners and other than the guys we just talked about, or just in general?
Just in general, man. If you want to get off some more analysis for the guys that you mentioned previously, by all means. By all means. Let's winners and losers.
Well, the top man, Darius Robinson. That's the big winner. Quinyon Mitchell, Jackson Powers, Johnson. I think those three are probably the biggest winners in the Senior Bowl class. Two guys that we didn't speak about from Alabama. I like what I saw in the Senior Bowl. I was really downplaying Chris Braswell coming into the Senior Bowl, but I like his tenacity. He doesn't stay blocked for long. I liked how he competed. Him and his partner, Ebo. I can't pronounce it, man. I just call him Ebo.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Ebo from Alabama. I think he has very violent hands. I like his tenacity as well. Austin Booker and Nealon. I thought those two guys at the edge were big winners this week, man. So, those are guys off the top of my head right now that, I see are winners this Senior Bowl week.
A loser. I got 1, 2, 3, 7. I got 8 losers. All right. 7 of them are the quarterbacks.
Dang.
Fault of their own. All right. We'll start there. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know why. It's not their fault. 7, bro.
7 quarterbacks.
7 quarterbacks, man. Hartman, Penix, Nix, Rattler. Although we like Rattler, I think, but he could have. It could have been better. It could have been better, right? Joe Milton, Michael Pratt, and Carter Bradley, all 7, right? And then, and this might have been the roughest of all. Who was roughest? Who was an offensive lineman that was rough? Was bad.
Who was bad? You know who I thought that could have been better? I wouldn't say he was bad. I thought Patrick Paul could have been better. I thought his hands were all over the place.
Some people thought he actually had some good day. I agree with you, Headley, but the guy I'm thinking about is, and I'm probably gonna butcher his last name, from Oklahoma, Andrew Rame. Didn't matter who was in front of him. Beat like a drum. It was bad. 1-on-1s, 11-on-11s, install. No, I'm just kidding. It was bad. Bad all around, man. So, I mean, he kept fighting, but he didn't win too many reps, man.
Yeah, when I consider winners and losers, I think it's very much, you can look at it from different angles, right? But for me personally, I look at it from the perspective of what are my expectations for the player. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Based on my expectations going in, how did they fare? Right. There could be a guy like Rom who obviously struggled, and yes, by perhaps every measurable, right? Every quantifiable method, he was a loser in this particular because his performance was just that bad. But I did not have, exceeding expectations for him in the first place. You understand what I'm saying?
Bro,
So
but you didn't expect him to get beat in most
no,
reps.
no, 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 no.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's
I just said that. I just said that, bro. I just said that.
no, but you also
Let
said
me
it
cook.
expectations.
Let
Though.
me cook. Damn, let me cook. So, with that being said, like Joe Milton, for example, right? Because Drew said all the quarterbacks basically were losers. I did not have huge expectations for Joe Milton. I didn't. So the fact that while it was a little frustrating not to see him, let it rip, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't call him a loser. I don't think anything changed, right? I don't think anything changed from him going in to the week and the week of practices transpiring, and now it's going into the game. I don't think anything's changed for me as it pertains to my evaluation of Joe Milton, right? Even despite all the checkdowns, nothing has changed there. Kalen King is the most obvious. It's the most obvious, bro, because of where he started, going back to summer scouting, and where things have ended as of the 3 Senior Bowl practices. None of it has been good. None of it, bro. Sometimes guys have peaks and valleys in their play, and you know what I'm saying? You kind of, all right, well, what happened here? And was it just a bad week? Was he dealing with an injury? And maybe something's off. You alluded to that, Drew, that he might be nursing an injury. But at that point, I think you gotta sit yourself down at that point.
Yeah, pack it up, bro.
It's just none of it was good. None of it was good. So I think obviously low hanging fruit there as far as losers are concerned. I don't think Michael Penix was a loser. I don't think he helped himself as far as the play on the field. I think from an interview perspective, it sounds to me like he nailed it. But the guy that, and you're getting very different reports, the guy that I thought was a loser among these quarterbacks is Bo Nix, bro. And you might say, you know what, we'll kind of put him in the same Penix category because of the way he finished. All right, man. He had a nice 7-on-7 session in the red zone on day 3. It was 3 consecutive touchdown passes. He was decisive, accurate. He let it rip. You understand what I'm saying? But that was it, bro. That was it. There was fumble snaps. There was inaccuracy. It never looked like, okay, because we've always, or at least I'll speak for myself, I've always had reservations about Bo Nix, right? I've always had reservations about, okay, he certainly has improved by leaps and bounds since he's been in Oregon, right? And he operates that offense at a high level. So you can make a case for Bo Nix in that right system. If he finds the right landing spot, and this can be said for any quarterback, right? But particularly for Bo Nix in this class, in the right system, you can win with Bo Nix, right? Coming out of this, man, I'm like, look, man, I don't know how you can make the case or sign up for him being the guy. I don't know how you can. Because at Oregon, it was pristine. The offensive line play led by Jackson Powers Johnson. You got Troy Franklin. You got Bucky. I mean, it was pristine. No quarterback was kept more clean in FBS than Bo Nix. Nobody threw from a cleaner pocket than Bo Nix. And we talked about the offense and the scheme and how well he operated it, right? Well, there was a lot of, especially this past season, there was a lot of extended handoffs built into this offense. A lot of dump downs into the flat, right? Now functional mobility, the athleticism, again, very accurate when he's decisive, but then again, at the same time, he's an older quarterback who's a one-read quarterback. So it's tough. It's tough. I did not see enough from Nix to say, you know what? Let's do it. Let's roll the dice. And let's give the keys to Bo Nix, and we're going to give him that 4-year, rookie window, 5 years if you include the option, the 5th-year option. Under those circumstances, the way he played this week, I just can't get on board with it. So I think from that perspective, I would consider him a loser. I think the momentum was building, right? The mobility, and they set it up. You didn't have to play across from Michael Penix. You know what I'm saying? You went 0-2 against Michael Penix this year. Like you didn't have to, and you did not capitalize on it. Like even in terms of the opening interviews, right, with Jim Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl. You know who the next person on the podium was? It was Bo Nix. There were only 2 players on the podium after Jim Nagy. It was Bo Nix and then Chris Braswell, the aforementioned Chris Braswell, right? And I think Braswell was up there because played at Alabama, local. He's a local guy. You know what I'm saying? Bo Nix, he's from Alabama, started his career at Auburn. He's a local guy, right? But he's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy everybody is pegging for the first round. Among the Senior Bowl participants, this is the guy. There is no way, there's no arguments you can make. 0-3, thank you, Gavin. There is no arguments you can make to me to say that Bo Nix should be selected before Michael Penix, man. No argument. And I think Bo Nix had an opportunity. Michael Penix left the door open in the eyes of the masses with respect to his performance against Michigan in the national championship. And Bo Nix had an opportunity to solidify it, and he didn't. He didn't. So from that perspective, I definitely think he was a loser this week.
Yeah, I wrote down some more winners and losers. I just went through the roster real quick. Joe Milton was a loser for me. He just was indecisive. It was a play where he was rolling out to the right. The running back was wide open. And he just didn't decide to throw the ball into the last second and missed him in the end zone. It was terrible, man. You just get the ball out your hands quickly. He was just very indecisive, not pulling the trigger. So I think Joe Milton was a loser. Kalen King, I think, was a big loser at corner. He was just getting done all week long. James Williams, the linebacker from Miami. I know it's a new position for James Williams, but I didn't like how he performed.
He didn't.
Loser. Tez Walker. I thought this guy was going to come in the combine and dominate. And he just had too many drops. You see the separation. You see him get vertical. You see him beat guys all the time, but you just got to come down with those passes, man. I don't know how strong he is. You saw him get pressed coverage a lot. They bullied him a little bit out there. So, I thought he was a loser because, it's not going to affect his draft stock too much, I don't think. But as far as what I was expecting, I didn't see him perform to that level. And the last loser I have here is Bo Braid. That's a guy I was talking up coming in coverage, man. He looked like a fish out of water in coverage. He could come up and hit, but he can't cover. He can't cover. So I got to reevaluate how I see Bo Braid going forward. And some winners that I had that we haven't spoken about before. Kamani Vidal, the running back. I thought he did really good, especially in the passing game. Those little Z routes, those little choice routes, he did really good at that. I liked what Javon Baker did from UCF. I like his feet.
Yeah.
His feet is sometimes he does a little bit too much with his feet. You need to get into those routes a little quicker. But how he used his feet and how he attacked the ball in the air, I thought he had really good ball skills. Gabe Hall, the D tackle from Baylor, I thought he flashed early on in the week, like what he did. Jalen Harrell, he's a guy that I've watched, and I was like, he's average. But at the Senior Bowl, I saw him beat a lot of guys that that we're touting up now. A lot of tackles. I saw him. I think he might have been Kinsley. I might have been the guy that gave Kinsley a little trouble. And then another guy is Christian Jones, the tackle from Texas. He's big, he's tall, he's physical, and he did well. He did well in those one-on-one reps as well. So that's a guy that I'm going back to watch more tape on. Christian Jones, the tackle from Texas.
Yeah, his eyesore is pass protection. Good mover, and nice in the run game, but his issue is pass protection. And you said Jalen Harrell, yeah, he was doing Jordan Morgan too. Pause.
With Jordan Morgan,
like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he was getting in Jordan.
I know
Morgan
he was doing somebody. He did somebody like back to back.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I don't know that Jordan Morgan. I thought Jordan Morgan did well in the one-on-ones, and I think that's what's going to save him from a losing effort. But as I mentioned, I thought Austin Booker, who you could certainly put in the winners circle, I thought in the 11-on-11 he kind of exposed a weakness in Morgan's game, which may ultimately get him pigeonholed into the interior. It's not that I don't think Jordan Morgan can play tackle, but he does have shorter arms, right? So certain teams are just going to say, you know what, no, You don't necessarily meet the requisite metric for us to play the tackle position. Morgan has to get to his spot faster. He has to get to his landmark faster, right? And not only get to his landmark faster, he needs to get those hands fired off faster, right? He wants to be patient, but you just don't possess the arm length, right, or the foot speed to be quite as patient. You need to jump that 7 or 9. You need to turn that 9 into a 5 or 7. You understand what I'm saying? As far as the alignment is concerned, he needs to get to his landmark faster, because when Jordan Morgan actually puts his hands on you, it's over. It's over. I don't know if there's another player in the Senior Bowl I felt that way about. Maybe JPJ, but I thought when Morgan actually got the grip strength, the clasp on you, you weren't going anywhere. But too many times he was actually engaging the edge rusher 5-6 yards deep in the backfield. You know what I mean? You can't win that way. You can't win that way. So I'm not sure I would go as far to say he was a loser, but certainly didn't necessarily. I wouldn't consider him a winner either. Tez Walker, I think he salvaged his week, right? As the week went on, I think he got behind some defensive backs and made a few more catches, cleaned up the drops a little bit. Still a little shaky there, but he kind of put himself in a hole out the gate, and he had to climb out of it a little bit. I actually saw him and Penix working after a particular practice, right? Just working and on some timing and catching the football. So he certainly understood that he needed to put a little bit more work on, knock off some of that rust. So maybe it was more of a blip. Maybe it was a little bit more of a blip on the radar for him. So I wouldn't go as far as call him a loser either. I think he cleaned it up. I think he was able to salvage it. Anybody else for you, Drew?
Just two things real quick. One is I don't know if you want to tell the people about the conversation you had with Keith Randolph Jr. Just a little tidbit in terms of what you've discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to actually, before I go there, I will share that with our audience. Before we go there, I've seen a couple comments regarding Javon Solomon. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on him.
Javon Solomon, from what I watched and remember, I think he has good power. I think where he may lack is just coming up with a consistent plan if first plan doesn't work. So I think that's kind of where I kind of, because there were a lot of reps that I watched where he just, if he was going to win, it was usually on the first move, whatever it is that he was pulling off. If he was able to beat you with that, it was good, clean, fantastic. But if he wasn't able to beat you with that, he was pretty much stymied, and that was kind of the end of the rep for him. So I think if I'm remembering it correctly, I think that's what he needs to work on for me.
Yeah, I think with Solomon, it's the size thing. He's not the biggest guy. I think, just handling the run, I think he might have issues at the next level there. But as a pass rusher, he could be one of those specialist as a pass rusher. He comes off the edge fast, quick, has good leverage, can close to the quarterback. So, he could rack up some sacks. It's just the size and the run game is where I think he might struggle at the next level.
I think there was a little bit of an adjustment for him as well, right? I think obviously, he's playing, upper echelon talent, NFL talent, right? And he's not necessarily facing that week in and week out. Not to say that he doesn't belong. I'm not suggesting that. I think he certainly does, but there's an adjustment to be made. So, it's 3 short practices, right? 6 hours worth of practices. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not able to necessarily put everything that you learn and what you work on into practice immediately, right? But I think there's some good takeaways for him. And as Headley mentioned, out of the gate, it's going to be more specialty, right? Obvious pass rush situations, sub packages. It probably won't be a ton of playing time out the gate, right? There'll be a little development that needs to take place there, but an intriguing prospect, certainly an intriguing prospect. All right. Anybody else? I know that there's a lot. It's easy to skip over things. Before I get into the brief Keith Randall conversation I had.
That bullshit. One last thing. Got an interview with Tyler Guyton. Was asking him, who's a guy that you had trouble with this year that you can remember, or just in your college football career And he followed up with, "No, I didn't have any trouble with anybody," which is the answer that I was expecting. So I said, "Okay, got you. How about a memorable, remarkable matchup that you had with who was that guy?" Thought about it for about 2 seconds. He said Austin Booker. And he said it's because he's unorthodox. So if you're not prepped and prepared and ready to deal with what he's going to, snap out, give you, then he's going to be a problem for you. So, and I know if you go and you watch that Texas tape, I think that might be his highlight tape of the year. He showed up, he showed out, was extremely productive in that game and disruptive in that game. And he was giving some guys some work. I think he was giving your boy John Morgan some work as well. So, I think the thing with him, I think he needs to add a little bit more size. I think me and Jake were talking about this. I think it was me and Jake. Needs to add a little bit more weight to his frame. I think he has the size to do that. And so once I think he gets there, now we may be talking about a more consistent pass rusher and a guy who maybe would also be able to defend the run. So.
Yeah, he's an intriguing prospect, bro, for sure.
Yeah,
he's very intriguing. And like I said, once they went live, 11 on 11, I think that's where he started to shine for sure. And that to me is most meaningful. That's the most meaningful reps as far as I'm concerned. I was going to get into the Keith Randolph, but you actually jogged my memory. Roger Rosengarten, man, we were calling him number 73 after that national championship game, man. Like, it was bad, bro. It was bad. Yeah. But I thought he played well this week, bro. I thought he helped himself a lot. Right? He showed me some things. He showed me some athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Out there on the edge, some physicality, willingness to finish. Didn't win every rep. Obviously didn't win every rep, but I thought he definitely bounced back from that national championship performance, helped himself. So I like that. I like the fact that he showed up, he competed. Didn't want to leave his last, game wearing the W on his helmet with that kind of performance. So I was encouraged. I was encouraged by what I saw from him. I was actually came away impressed. I came away impressed by what I saw from him. When I spoke to Keith Randolph, very, very polite young man, big fella, obviously. I asked him about, what was it like playing with Drizon Newton, whatever the case may be. He said, that was always fun. That's his guy. And then, of course, I asked him the question that, we had and the thing that we've talked about, and the fact that with those two players, as disruptive as they are, the responsibility that they have in that odd man front of holding up at the point of attack, two gapping, and not necessarily being able to get upfield. And, of course, that's what we've harped on with respect to Drizon Newton, and certainly could be extended to Keith Randolph, right, as far as being able to one gap, attack, three technique, that type of thing. And he said, man, in our system, our first step is always lateral. And my eyes got wide like this. And it's like, man, that's like that. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I can kind of relate that to is having to be in pass protection every game in a air raid attack. That's the only thing I can relate that to is when you're in pass protection, you're always catching it. You're always catching it. You're always on your heels. Imagine playing defense, but your first step is always lateral. The defensive line, your first step is always lateral, man. Like, they had so much responsibility to just hold up in several gaps, right, and allow whomever's at the second level, because they weren't necessarily flowing and making plays, if you look at the film, right, to make those plays. It must have been very frustrating. And I asked him, I said, are you looking forward to being able to get upfield and make some plays? And he said, absolutely, man. He said, absolutely. So hopefully he gets an opportunity to land somewhere where he can be more aggressive and get upfield and be a difference maker from that perspective, right? It's not to say that his job, his responsibility at Illinois was any less important, but I don't know that they were necessarily leveraging those athletes appropriately as far as their skill sets. You understand what I'm saying? To get the best out of them. So it was an eye-opening conversation. Definitely an eye-opening conversation there with Keith Randolph. It's on tape. You can tell that they're trying to just hold up and two gap, but when you really put it into context like that and say our first step is always lateral, that is how it's coached up, That's rough, man. That's rough. And he didn't wow. He didn't wow this week, but I could see, I can imagine a situation where if he's consistently allowed to continue to work on his craft and attack and get downhill, he's just going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to get more comfortable with it. He's going to start making plays. So interesting conversation there for sure. Yeah, I mean, D-Kid, I mean, there's it wouldn't be without cause. It wouldn't be without cause, man. I'm a big believer. Listen. I'm not calling for the guy to get fired necessarily, but if you're going to fire him for that reason, it wouldn't be without cause, right? I think it is the coach's responsibility to put their players in a position to be successful, right? That's their job. That's their responsibility, and I don't know that, at least from a defensive standpoint, they did that. It certainly didn't seem that way. So it is what it is at this point. All right, gents. Great show. It was a phenomenal opportunity once again here to cover the Senior Bowl. We love it. We look forward to it every year. We're going to do it next year. God spare life. We'll be back at it next year, bigger and better than ever. There's going to be a lot of content, a lot of Senior Bowl related content coming out over the course of the next weeks leading up to the Combine. We appreciate that, Jake. So stay tapped in. Stay on point with us. All right. Don't get away from us now that the one-on-ones have come to an end. Stay with us because there's a lot bigger and better coming here. The 7-round mock drafts are going to fire up here. The draft profiles will continue to flow. The film study will continue to flow. Drew and I were talking about it. We got quite a bit of film that we're still cranking out. We're going to invite some of you guys to join us for some film study. So again, stay tapped in with us. As I mentioned, take advantage of that promo code with Underdog Fantasy, promo code CPGM, link in the description. And spread the word. Spread the word. Follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at CPGM NFL Draft. Again, you want to be plugged in with us throughout the draft season and certainly beyond. All right. So for Headley, Drew, this is Juice. Thanks, everybody. We will see you guys next week.